Hello there, everybody. Yeah, me and Paul are back here to do a Alien franchise ranking. We were just going to do this as a recording, but last minute we said, you know what, should we just do a live? I haven't done one of these for a while. It was more Paul's idea, but I thought that'd be a great idea. We'll talk about it live. Hopefully we can get a few comments off you guys into the Alien franchise. But before we get into all that, Paul, thanks so much for coming back on the channel again, mate. How are you?
I'm very well, man. I'm still riding the Alien high. It's all I've been talking about for like a month on my channel and other people's channels, just in day-to-day life. I've been enamored with Aliens for the last 4 weeks. And I'm excited to talk to you about it because we've messaged a few times over social media, but I'm looking forward to sitting down and talking the entire franchise with you and picking each other's brains and whatnot.
Yeah, me too, mate. Before we do talk Aliens, mate, last time you came on here, you didn't have a channel, did you? Or you were just starting the channel. But you have got one now, and you've reviewed all these movies, apart from the AVP films, I believe. So do you want to just tell everyone about your channel real quick? And by the way, guys, Paul's channel is in the link down below if you want to go and check him out.
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, so my channel's just called my name, Paul Tambs. If you search that, you'll find it. It's a very new channel. I've had a channel before that started a few years ago, and I just lost sort of direction with it, and I just wanted to restart a new channel with fresh ideas and whatnot. So it's only been up there a couple of weeks, a couple of videos up there, not many, but I started with a video series called The Road to Romulus, where I reviewed each of the Alien movies, apart from the AVP one. So I did Alien to Covenant, reviewed each of them, leading up to Romulus, then reviewed Romulus. And I've done a ranking video as well, which I put up earlier today. But I've got loads of ideas, loads of new stuff coming out over the next couple of weeks. So yeah, if any of that interests you, please feel free to jump on there. And if you like what you're seeing on the channel, please give us a subscribe. It'll help. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Like I said, guys, his link is in the channel down below. I actually watched your Alien ranking today. We'll probably do a little ranking at the end, a little quick one for those people who, you know, if they don't really want to go and see our rankings, they'll just find out on this one or whatever. But I do suggest that you go over and watch that. I've also reviewed all the Alien movies as well, guys, and I've done an Alien ranking as well. So if you want to check that out, it is on this channel. Not far away from this video, to be honest. So we decided to do this because I've been watching all these Alien movies the past couple of weeks, and I've always loved the first two, but on these rewatches, I've really grown to love this franchise, and I think it might actually be the strongest horror franchise out there now. And a lot of people say Scream and Evil Dead, and that is justified. But for me, man, I think it might be this. I mean, I love all these movies. You know, they're either good or masterpiece. So what do you think about the Alien franchise overall, Paul?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Completely hear what you're saying. It is a very, very solid franchise. I think people mistake that the thing with the Alien films is a lot of people don't look at them as horror movies, even though they are horror movies. Like Scream, you Scream and you whatever ranked as high horror franchises. When you think of them, you think of horror, don't you? Like Scream's a horror franchise. You just know that. But for some reason, when you think of the Alien movies, because a few of them sort of jump over into different genres, you don't class them as a horror franchise. But it's a horror franchise. It started as a horror franchise. They've all got horror elements laced throughout them. And it is a solid franchise. Like you said, there's not a bad one. Take the AVP movies out of it, there's not a bad movie. In my opinion, in the Alien franchises, there's masterpiece to good to that's an all right film, but there's not any of them where I find them unwatchable or I can't watch them ever again or something like that. It is a solid franchise, man.
I know what you're saying there, because it is a horror franchise, but there is some movies that are more action focused, especially Aliens, I suppose. But yeah, all of them have got horror elements, and I do think the first movie is pure sci-fi horror, and the last one we've just seen especially is horror as well. Definitely goes for the horror aspect in the third act, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, I've just had a wonderful time. And there's a few different movies in there, you know, like Prometheus and stuff that do something a little bit different, but we'll just get into it. And we're just gonna go talk about each movie, guys, for 5 or 10 minutes, and we're going to get into spoilers and stuff. Not too heavy, but we might do for Romulus, because we're not going to pick each movie apart, but we'll just give our thoughts on them, and we'll just go in release order. We're not going in chronological order here. We're going in release order, and we're just going to start with the 1979 film Alien. But before we do, we've just got a couple of comments here. So this is from Minhaju. Thanks so much for coming along, my friend. Hey guys, I love Alien Romulus. Yes, I think we both do, don't we? That makes 3 of us. Great film, love it. Thoroughly enjoyed it throughout to the end. 8 out of 10. Yeah, not a bad score, mate. The first act is Alien, the second act is Aliens, and the third and final act is a mixture of 3: Resurrection, Prometheus, and Covenant, given all the connections and lore from the prequels. Thought Romulus is also a throwback to all the other films that came before and blended into one. I can't wait to pick it up on 4K.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait for that 4K, man.
I mean, it's very rare that I go out and buy a 4K on release day. I've done it a few times, but I'm definitely going to pre-order this one, man. Definitely. I usually wait for like a 2 to 30 sale, but that's just me. Yeah, so we'll just get into it now for the 1979 Ridley Scott Alien movie. Now, this is a movie for me that first time I watched it, I thought it was good. Well, I was a little bit young and stuff, and I thought it was a bit slow, but I did like it, I did enjoy it, and it's just one of them movies that over time, it's just, I see the genius in it now. I just think it's got everything a sci-fi horror movie should have. What do you think of this film then, mate? I mean, do you think it's a masterpiece like me? I mean, it's just there's so much to say about Alien 1979, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm a bit like you said. I'm a bit like you, man. Like I come into it, like I watched the first couple of Alien films, or the first 3, sort of out of order. I watched the third one first, then second and one, so I sort of watched them in reverse order. And then going from Aliens to Alien at a young age as well. I'm talking like 8, 9, 10. I can't remember how old I was when I watched it, but I think you're like, man, this is slow, this film. like compared to Aliens, I was like, this film's boring. But, that sort of film, I shouldn't have been watching at that age. I didn't understand sort of what Ridley Scott was going for at the time. And like you, I rewatched it, kept rewatching it as I got older and older. And as I got more into movies, and that film's flawless to me, like flawless. Like there's nothing I would change in that film whatsoever. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. A-star, whatever the hell you want to score it, 5 stars. That film's a masterpiece in the science fiction horror genre, a masterpiece in just science fiction in general. It's an important film. It paved the way for a lot of horror films, a lot of science fiction films. It's wonderfully paced, great cast of characters. Just the creature design and its life cycle is just genius, just absolute genius. Whoever come up with that. Just a brilliant film, and I think with age it gets better, and with every rewatch it gets better. Like every time I rewatch it, I pick up on something very different, and even if it's just something subtle like a character trait or something. Every single time I revisit Alien, I pick up on something completely different. And every time I do rewatch it, I'm locked in from the second the credit starts to the second the credits end. Man, I'm just encapsulated in that world and that film. Right through. Like I love it. I love the first Alien movie.
Yeah, it's like when you say them starting credits, there's something about that title that just comes up, and it makes you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, and you're in the middle of space basically with this crew, and it's just you and them going along, and it's like a mystery movie, isn't it? Like for the first 50 minutes, nothing real. Okay, something obviously happens, but obviously we get the famous chest burst scene about 50 minutes in. But before that, it's just getting to know the characters a little bit, where they are, what they've been doing, what this distress signal is all about. And it's just a really slow moving movie, but it really does set the mood, I think. And Ridley Scott is the master of the slow burn, I think. He just really does craft this world to show you. Like there's like movements for the first couple of, like after the title sequence, he just goes around the ship with the camera and you're just seeing all the set design and everything. And it's like, man, the detail that's gone into this, like it's like all the foam walls, the sliding doors and everything. It just looks fantastic. But yeah, you obviously get a distress call. They go into this planet, and I can imagine this in the cinema for the first time watch. People must have been on edge of their seats going, where are they going? What are they going to find here? And it does eventually lead up to that massive chest burst scene. But I just want to talk about the face hugger. I mean, what a design that is. I mean, when that jumps on John Hurt's face and they finally do get it off, I think a lot of the audience probably were relieved as well, going, oh, that was weird. I don't think they ever see what was coming next. But what a great little design it is. I mean, I'm an arachnophobe and it looks like a giant spider a little bit, doesn't it? It's a horrible looking thing. But what a great design that is for the first part of the life cycle.
Yeah, man. Like this is one of them films that I would loved to have been able to see for the first time in 1979, just not having no conception of what it was about or nothing. Imagine being in the cinema opening night for that film, not knowing at all what was going on, and that happens at 50 minutes in, because it leads you're watching a film called Alien, and you're watching it like, oh, someone's going to pop off. When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And then when that happens, and the noise, the sound effect that happens, where it's like a static, loud sort of noise when it hits his face. I can imagine back in the day in the cinemas when that first happened, people fucking lost their minds. It's great. It's such, from the minute they hit down on that on LV-426, going into that derelict ship, up to them finding them face hugger eggs. Watching that for the first time, everyone must have been like, "Whoa, why that? What is going on? Why would you go in there? Like, what? Why would you stick your face near that thing, that egg thing?" Fantastic. Like I said, just masterclass of tension building. Ridley Scott, like you said, man, I love that scene.
Yeah, I think if there's any part in history that I could go back to for any movie in a cinema, it would be that moment. I just would love. Like, I've heard from people who are a bit older than me say, like, it was just an amazing moment, and we wouldn't have had Twitter and stuff spoiling the film, by all the early screenings and stuff. Like, we would now, But what I like about this as well is we sort of get Ripley here, who is not really wanting to let these people back on the ship. And as a viewer, you're like for the first time especially, you could probably think, oh, just let them on, they're in trouble and stuff. By the end of the movie, you realise that she is actually spot on, and this wouldn't have happened if they didn't get back on the ship. And it just shows that she is the smartest person in this movie, I think. Apart from maybe Ash, because he's an android and stuff, and he's working behind their back for more villainous stuff. But I think that's what I like about this film. She's not really the protagonist straight away. It's not really till after that scene that she starts to grow into the main role. I think that's a good little, keeping it going, guessing for the audience as well. And she really does grow as the film goes on, I think, because you notice that she is smart, and she becomes stronger and stronger as the movie goes on, especially with taking on this damn thing. So I think that's a great casting, and she is definitely one of the greatest female protagonists of all time. Definitely cemented more in the second film, but I think Sigourney Weaver done a great job in this. What do you agree with that? What do you think of the cast as well in here? Because I think there's some great characters in this one.
Yeah, I really like the cast in Alien. They're just everyday, normal working folk, and so you can relate to them. I like the fact that what you're saying there about her not opening the airlock for quarantine reasons, she's just doing her job. Like that would be the same in any other job. If like some virus is trying to come into your workspace, you'd be like, well, no, you can't come in. Like, we have to quarantine you. We have to follow the procedures, and that's exactly what she's doing. She's following the rules, and it's only Ash when he lets them in that she's. I love that scene when she's like, she goes to confront him, and she's like, "And you let them in."
Yeah.
But yeah, I love I love Sigourney Weaver in this movie, man. I like you said. When the film starts, it's not really till the third act, when she is the last one standing, that you realise that she's the final girl. She's going to be the one that sort of survives there. And it's weird when you if you were to watch it for the first time, you'd never have got that. But when you rewatch it, you pick up on things like, yeah, she's the reason. This thing she does is the reason why she's the one that survives.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she's smart as well, isn't she? That's how she outsmarts the perfect organism, really, basically. But when we see this, like I was amazed the first time I watched it. Like, man, that xenomorph grew quick in size there. I mean, you see it as a chest burst, next time you see it, it's massive. And it doesn't really show you too much of the xenomorph. It kind of like, I think he was trying to emulate what Steven Spielberg did with Jaws, just a little bit there, you know, not showing you too much of it. I think he's actually gone on record and said that. But when we do see it now and again, it's a fabulous looking creature what H.R. Geiger has designed here, like this gigantic long head with this little mouth stuff that comes out, big tail. I mean, it's probably the most fascinating movie creature I've ever seen on film. Do you agree?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like it's just a genius creature design, and it's, you know, there's the time period it came out, there was just all these creature designs coming out that just stand the test of time. We still talk about them today, like Jaws, Alien, RoboCop, Terminator, Predator. It was just all these fabulous creature designs that were coming out over the late 70s and into the 80s that we still talk about them today. We don't get that very often anymore. There's not many, like, I don't really talk about creature designs from like the late 90s or the early thousands, but I'm still talking about Alien, I'm still talking about RoboCop, Predator, Terminator, because they stand the test of time and they're just genius creations. And what H.R. Giger, and then essentially Ridley Scott and the design team sort of molded his designs into their own, into this faceless humanoid creature with the retractable mouth. And like you said, you don't really see it in the film. I think you see it in the film. It's about a 2-hour-long film. Surely no more than like 3 minutes. If that, man, like 3 or 4 minutes, you know what I'm saying? And you don't need to, because when you see it, you don't want to see it again. Like, do you know what I mean? Like when you see, like, the point of the film is you don't want to see it, the same as the characters don't want to see it. Do you know what I mean? So when it does appear on screen, you're like, oh shit.
I mean, it's like, it shows the danger of it as well. Like, you can't even see the damn thing, but you know the damage it's causing, and like the carnage, and it's just picking people off one by one and stuff like that. But yeah, every time I watch this film, I feel like I've just watched an event, like a masterpiece, you know. And by the end, I just go, what a film he's crafted there. I think the more I think about it, Ridley Scott is like one of the best directors ever. I mean, I know that's probably common knowledge, but I was looking at his filmography the other day, and he's made some bangers, man. And I didn't realise how many I've actually seen by him. But I do think this is his best film, personally. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't know not much else to say. I mean, but I just think it's a great movie. Got anything else to say on Alien before we move on to an absolute banger again, Paul?
Nah, man, like it is, you know, just to sort of end on Alien, it is a masterpiece of a science fiction horror movie. It's just, you know, it's just one of the best, if not the best, we've ever seen. And still, it's getting on, like, what's, like 45 years old now. And I watched it about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, leading up to Romulus, and I watched it on 4K. And when it's doing that, you know, the tracking shots and the ship, I'm like, I watched this film nearly 50 years old. Bonkers, man. It stands the test of time, and it really holds up. And you know, it's one of the films, if you've not seen it, like, I know people who haven't seen this. I know people who are even film fans who still haven't seen Alien. I'm like, mate, get that checked off your list, man. Like, that's like ridiculous. Like, if you've not seen Alien, if you like film and storytelling and horror in any way, shape, and form, Alien's the one you need to be ticking off the box, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I mean, you've got to see it, haven't you? But yeah, I mean, just a fabulous film there, Paul. Like you said, I was watching it myself the other week, going, like, this, just the detail on that shit, man. For me, it hasn't really dated, apart from when I think I messaged you and you went, apart from them keyboard buttons. it hasn't really dated, in my opinion. There are some moments that have, but I wouldn't think it was that old, put it that way.
It's what I like about, like, it is Alien, and just the Alien universe in general, is they sort of emulated Star Wars, where they made things feel old but futuristic at the same time. And even though now when you watch it, you're like, that's old technology, you still think it's futuristic, and it's just in your head now, it's just the aesthetic of the world of Alien. A bit like when you watch Star Wars, you're like, everything looks like old, but it's supposed to be like dead futuristic, but you're just like, no, that's just the aesthetic of Star Wars. Do you know what I mean? And Alien does the same. So yeah, My only gripe with Alien, if I had to pick anything, is some of the special effects here and there. So when the chest burster goes across the table and that,
Yeah.
a little bit dated. But again, it's nearly a 50-year-old film, 45 years old film. But apart from that, man, it's flawless. Like, it's brilliant.
I think they've got some fella underneath the table with a magnet just pulling that across or something. But yeah, I do agree with that, by the way. Just before we move on, it does you just sort of accept it because that's that universe now. So, and I think that's something we'll get on to what Eddie Alvarez really done well as well. Before we do get onto it, Mahan Juice just got a few comments. Alien Isolation is also in there with all the Easter eggs and references in there with the weapons, etc. I've not played this game, Paul. Have you?
Oh, Jordan, I've been playing it today. I've been on it all afternoon. No joke, I've been on it for about 4 hours this afternoon. I've played it like I played it through like 2 or 3 times, but not for a while because it is about 10 years old now. And just because I've been riding Alien High with Romulus, I was like, I need to pull that out and install it because I haven't played that for a while. And man, is it a good survival horror game. And just what we're talking about there, like the aesthetic of Alien and the analog futuristic stuff, it's all there, man. You're on that ship and you feel like you're walking around the world of Alien. Jord, 100% check that game out, mate. I think you'll love it.
I think I've got it downloaded on my PS5 somewhere, and I just never got around to it. But obviously, now watching all these, man, it's either that or the new Dead Space remake. I don't know which one to go with, but I'm going with one very soon.
I'd probably go Isolation just because you're riding the Alien High, but Dead Space up there as well because Dead Space is very, very wears sort of Alien on its sleeve as its inspiration.
I did play the old one. I've got the remake up there, and I really want to give it a go. But there's a lot of fan service in there, like stuff from Aliens in there, like the pub sign, etc. I didn't see that.
So on the planet, you see like the bar, don't you? It just says bar, like a neon sign saying bar, and that's on Hadley's Hope as well in Aliens.
Right. Yeah, I didn't get onto that at all.
Yeah.
Mahaju, I know you're talking about Romulus, mate, and really appreciate you getting the comments in, but I mightn't get too deep into your comments because we are going to come to Romulus in just a bit, but I will read them out now. I love the third act. I can understand it's not for everyone either going to make it for you or you will hate it, but for me it just works because I'm a pre-folk fan. Fair enough, mate. That definitely worked for me. I know Paul's got something to say about the third act from his first and second viewing, but we'll get on to that. Love the whole Prometheus Black Goo pathogen. This pathogen plays a big role in the whole franchise now, even though we didn't need the lore and the origin of the alien engineers. Yeah, I understood that Black Goo bit a bit more on rewatch, the way he was talking about it and stuff. Was it Rook, is it? When he was mentioning it, yeah. I got into, like, on the second viewing, I think I was like trying to take in everything he was saying on the first viewing, but in the second viewing, a lot of it made a lot more sense, because you're taking the movie in and you already know where it's going and stuff. I love what Fede Alvarez did. One of my favorite directors. He injected life into the film, but damn that liquid goo, man. Once exposed to that, you're infected with the mutation. Game over. Yeah, true. I want Romulus 2 with Andy and Raim. Yeah,
we'll get onto it.
I think we're going to finish about where we're going to want the franchise to go as well. I don't care. I'm a sucker for hybrid aliens, not just the xenomorph, but more. And yes, Alvarez did it, went batshit insane, like he said, with the final act. Right, spoilers here, if anyone's watching. That bloody humanoid, alien xenomorph, engineer hybrid, credited as the offspring. Right, okay. I'll read the other comments in just a minute, mate. Oh, yeah. That X-ray scanner thing is so cool in Romulus. Nice little touch there. Yeah, it was connected to Covenant Prometheus, for sure, given the nods. Yeah, it is. From Overmorph to the face of an engineer, height of both engineer and Xenomorph. Also, it has all its tail with the strength of an engineer. That's kind of, yeah, I mean, we're going to get into it, mate. Third act was amazing. Freddy was doing his thing, going bonkers. If you know, it was unique. Alvarez is open to a reboot of AVMVP with Prey Director. Again, we're going to get into where it goes. The last comment here, Alien 3 is Romulus, as you can see, with the inspiration with the colour palette and lighting and cinematography. Yeah, okay, so thanks, Mahaju. We will get into all that, I promise, when we get to Romulus. But we're just going to talk about Aliens now. And for me, an absolute masterpiece, Paul. I mean, this is the first Alien movie I watched. I was blown away by this. Like my uncle, it's his favorite film of all time, and I was about 10, and he went, "Go on, you can lend me VHS video." I was like, "All right." Took it home, and I just, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, "This film is amazing," and I don't think he ever asked for it back. And I had that VHS for ages. I think he must have bought another copy or something. But man, I used to rewatch this constantly. I still do to this day. It's just one of the most rewatchable movies of all time for many, many reasons. James Cameron, for me, I mean, Tarantino is my favorite director, but I'm not going to argue with anyone now who says it's James Cameron. I think he might be second place for me now. The more I think about it, the guy who's brought us Terminator, Terminator 2, Aliens. I mean, man, that is some filmography, even if it was just them 3 films. And what James Cameron does, he knows how to tell a story. He knows how to do great special effects, action set pieces. He just knows how to make a movie, and it is all on show in this film. But Paul, I've got a lot to say on this anyway, but what are your initial thoughts on Aliens then, my friend?
Like the first film, mate, an absolute masterpiece. For different reasons. It's everything I wanted from Alien with little cherries sprinkled on top. Now, this film come out at a time period where I think a lot of people my age, I'm like mid-30s, I think you're around the same, Jordan. So everyone who was around our age sort of was discovering this film around the same time. More so on VHS or on TV because we were too young to see it at the cinema. So a lot of people around our age were discovering it through VHS. And when I clapped my eyes on this film for the first time, like everyone else who was around our age when we first seen it, I think I was about, so, I don't know, 8, 9 again. Just enamored with it, just absolute loved it to a point where me and my friends would all be watching it, and we'd go to school the next day. We'd start playing Aliens in the playground, like running around, pulse rifles, and people pretending to be the Xenos and whatnot. Just endlessly rewatchable, endlessly quotable. It's one of them films where I've seen it so many times, but every time I rewatch, when you get them films where when you've watched them so many times and you put them on, you start get distracted because you just know what's happening, just like you sort of just background film. Whenever I stick Aliens on, man, I'm there from start to finish. 2.5 hours special edition. Like, get me some snacks, man. Every time I've seen this film, I reckon I've seen this film 100 times, if not more. That's not an over-exaggeration. I reckon I've seen this a lot of times. Love it. It's my favorite of the franchise. Spoilers for the ranking. But I'm just enamored with this film. Like, I love everything about it. The world building, the expanded world building from what Ridley gave us, the expansion on the Xenomorph, the Queen Alien, the power load of the Colonial Marines, the pulse rifles, the locations, like everything. Like, there's not anything about this film I would change at all.
Yeah, I agree. I always watch the special edition myself. I think it expands more on the Newt Ripley motherhood thing. Yeah, and I think that's a great part of this movie because obviously Sigourney Weaver's daughter has died, and she feels so guilty about that. But she sees new life in being a mother with this Newt character who she's got to protect now, and there's a lot of motherhood, like straight line through this movie with the Queen Alien and stuff as well, I suppose. But that's one of my favorite parts about this film. It's like a good character arc for Ripley. Like, she's already had a great character arc in the first one, but this one did more for her to like see what she sees in this girl Newt and everything. And I just think that's a wonderful third act where that all comes together for her, rescuing her and stuff like that. I think the characters in this movie are probably, I mean, Pulp Fiction's up there, man, but probably the best bunch of characters in a movie. Like, if you get a group of characters, I think this might be my favorite group of characters in any film ever. I just love all the Marines. I just think they've all got personality. I love the way they're all like tough guys and stuff. And women, obviously, we've got Vasquez in there and stuff. But I love the way they're all like bigging each other up and stuff. But they've all got little personalities. They've all got great dialogue, one-liners and stuff. We've got Ripley in there, who is just, obviously, she, these are all tough people and stuff, but she's like the toughest of the lot of them. That's another great part of it. You got the slime ball Burke in there. You've got another android and Fisher. We didn't really speak about the android and alien. Sorry, I knew there was something missing, but Paul's gone. You're back, Paul. You went missing for a second there. Yeah, we didn't really speak about the android and aliens. something we skipped over there, but I did want to mention that. But we've got Bishop in there, who's another android, and I love that little dynamic as well because he doesn't trust Bishop, and you think you know why. But by the end of the movie, he's got a little something, and the movie teases it a little bit, saying, "Oh, he's done the dirty on them," and then he comes back. It's just got everything, man. Great, I love all the machine gun stuff they've got in here. All the big weapons. Loving the special edition, them turret guns. They think that's gonna keep these aliens out for the next 17 days, is it? And it lasts about 5 minutes.
if that.
Yeah. There's just so much to like about this film, and I think Hudson has got to be one of my favorite side characters in any movie. I think Bill Paxton is fantastic in this film. But yeah, man. I mean, I always struggle with this movie and like my favorite movies because there's just too much to say. You don't know where to start and everything. There is just so much great stuff about this movie. And I think as the movie gets on, you're just like, how do movies get better than this? And the answer is they don't. So
yeah, like the characters in this film are flawless, man. Like I love each and every one of them, even the ones you don't really get. We don't really get enough time spent with you, but you still get enough where you sort of know what they are, like Frost and Spunkmeyer, and like these aren't even the big characters in the film, but I know the names because I've seen the film that many times, and I just know they're sort of who they are in the film. And that scene when they're sort of all having food when they first wake from cryo sleep, and they're all just goofing off and having a good time, and you're just like, oh, I want to hang around with these guys, man. These are funny guys, man. And what I love about it is that. They are the actors. We're all the tough guys. We're the army, whatnot. Ripley is the one who knows what they're going into, and they don't believe her, and they don't give a shit what she's got to say until they need to know what she's got to say. So I love that dynamic as well, where for the first half they're like, who's this? Like, who's this woman? Like, Hudson's like, no. One of the characters says something like, oh. She said, and she's seen an alien once. And I was like, what you fucking do?
Well, when he says, I think Ripley's log is on a disc, I suggest you're all checking out. I bet you're not one of them checking out.
yeah. Because they're not asked, because it seems as if as well, though, and what I like about this, they don't expand on it. It seems that they've already seen aliens, not necessarily the xenomorphs, but it just seems to be like a thing they do as their job. Like they go, because they say, oh, there's another bug hunt. And when I think that, for some reason, my head goes to Starship Troopers. Now I've seen that film when I think bug hunts. So it comes across as
an interesting point. That Paul, actually,
they come across as if they do it all the time. Take out different sort of aliens. Like, so there's other aliens out there, but they've never encountered the xenomorph before. And Ripley has. And once she's trying to tell them. She's trying to say like just one of these things wiped out my entire crew. And if there's more than one down there, then you're all fucked. And guess what happens when they get down there? There's more than one, and they're all fucked.
That's right. I think what James Cameron does brilliantly here is like he takes that first source material and expands it by putting just loads of aliens in there, doesn't he? And he also sort of took away the horror aspect a little bit and made it more of an action film, but it definitely works. There's horror elements sprinkled in, of course, like that fucking shot of Newt in the water with the Queen alien coming up behind it. That's just terrifying. And you got the Queen alien itself, how good it looks, the practical effects here and everything. But yeah, I think just when you going back to the characters, there's lots of great lines of dialogue in this film, isn't there? Mainly from Hudson. But I just love like when he says to Vasquez, "Have you ever been mistaken for a man?" And she's like, "No, have you?" And I'm just, every time she says that, I'm just like. And
one of my favorite Hudson lines in the film, and it's not even a very like sort of quoted one. It's when Bishop's showing them the reactors exploding every like couple of hours, and he goes like, "How long we've got?" And he's like, 3 hours till it explodes, and he shows it like exploding, and then Hudson goes, "Oh, that's fucking beautiful. Oh, that's fucking beautiful, man." He just walks off, and it kills me every time he does it. Like.
Yeah, Bill Paxton, man. I don't know if he did ever get the credit he deserves, but he's a wonderful actor, mate. He really is, and he's fantastic in this. But yeah, I think this might, like, once the action kicks in, obviously it's just going and going, isn't it? But I do think this might have potential. Like, I know it says it's the best group of characters in any film, but I do think this might potentially have the best third act of any movie I've ever seen as well. Everything from that 20 minus 20 minutes to Ripley going to rescue Newt to the big battle at the end. I mean, you just can't stop looking at it, can you? It's just perfection.
Yeah, it's a wonderfully paced movie because it does the thing that the first movie does, where it's very slow burn, very, very slow burn. Like, you don't see an alien in it till, I think, like you said, like the 15-minute, the hour mark, when you see the first alien. So, and I don't know if that would fly with today's audience because people want things so fast. But when you're watching this film and you're locked in with the story and the characters, once you give it that slow burn and you've got to know these characters, the longer it takes you to get there, the more you're fearing for them, because you know once it hits, shit's going to hit the fan. And I find that every single time I rewatch it, like that hour, even though I know where it's going, that first hour never feels slow to me, ever.
No, it's just, like I said before, it's like the dialogue and stuff and the characters, they just make it enjoyable, don't they? Like, Alien is more of a, ooh, what's going to happen here, mystery and stuff. But this one, it's got a lot more of a fun factor in the slow burn, I think, personally.
It's like because you know the first film as well, you're sort of ahead of the characters as well this time around, so you know what they're going into. Even when, like, I can imagine people watching it for the first time back in the day, because coming off the first film where people would have been like not have a clue what was going on in it. In this one, the audience are slightly ahead of the characters because they know what they're going into.
Yeah, and it's not just the xenomorphs they have got to deal with. It's that slime ball Bert, isn't it? I mean, he's got to be one of the biggest slime balls in any movie I've ever seen. He actually wants to impregnate a young kid and this woman.
He's an asshole. And what I find funny about, I forgot is it Paul Weiser? Is that his name? The actor?
Oh, he's in Beverly Hills Cop as well, isn't he?
He is in Beverly Hills Cop, but every other film I've ever seen him in, he's such a nice guy. In every other film I've seen him in, he's such a nice. He's in Beverly Hills Cop. He was in Stranger Things a couple of seasons ago as like a scientist, like a dead nice guy in it. But every time I've seen the guy, apart from when he plays Burke, he's a nice guy. So see him being this complete slime ball in this film, this corporate man, this yes man, this guy who'll do anything to please his job and his bosses. Like, he's an asshole in this film, and when he gets took out, man, it's so satisfying.
Yeah, I mean, I for many years had one problem with this film, and it wasn't until like a few lately really that I was like, why did I not grasp that conversation for a film that I've seen so many times? And I'm ashamed to admit this now, Paul. I didn't realize that he actually told Newt's mother and father to go and check that ship out, because the conversation he has with Ripley, I don't think it's the clearest bit of dialogue until you fully take it all in. And that is just I know it's on me as well, really, but I just thought it was a coincidence that Ripley had woken up after all these years and the aliens suddenly start attacking. But no, it is him who's made this outbreak happen and killed all these people on LB-426.
Yeah, because it's after the conversation that she has when she's in the meeting, isn't she? And he's there and she's telling him the story. And then in the special edition, I think if you watch this theatrically, it doesn't make as much sense. In the special edition, it then goes down to the planet and we see Newt's parents and they get the face hugger. And then obviously later on in the film, you find out that after that conversation with Ripley in that meeting, he's heard it all. And it's funny because it's what I like about it as well is
slammed his way back to his office there to make a phone call.
Yeah, but what I like about this Weyland-Yutani company is in the film Aliens, they're acting as if they don't know what she's talking about, but they do. They know fully well what she's talking about because they were the ones that sent the Nostromo to the distress signal. So the company, it knows what she's saying is true, but they're trying to cover it up, and that's what that scene is like. They're trying to cover it up, and as soon as she's told them the story, he's gone back, like you said, he's gone back to his bosses. He goes, "Oh, let's get back down there, see if we can find another one," and sends Newt's family out there.
Yeah, just a complete arsehole, man.
Mm.
Yeah, but I mean, I could talk about this movie all day, Paul. But anything else to say on Aliens, mate? I know that it probably is, but you know, we can't just spend like 3 hours on it. So
I'll finish it off with something I said in my ranked video. I don't think I will see a better Alien movie than Aliens in my lifetime. I don't think I will. I don't think it'll be matched.
I agree with that, mate. I mean, it's not lightning in a bottle because a lot of thought and effort has gone into it. But how do you top it? I just don't know how you top it. I really don't.
I don't know who could do it. I don't know who could top that film. I really don't.
I don't even think Cameron himself could top it, mate. I really don't.
No, I don't. I don't think he could do it again. No, I don't.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that is Aliens. Fantastic.
It'll probably be on, if he did another one, it'd be on 3D IMAX, some shit with blue people running around.
But yeah, that is Aliens. Like, absolute 10 out of 10 film. I think we both agree, mate. Yeah. What else is there to say? I mean, if you have not seen Aliens, I know a few people who haven't. Sam, if you're watching, definitely go and watch that movie. Definitely 100%, because you will not be disappointed. I mean, even if you're not into sci-fi horror, I still think you can enjoy this movie so much because it's just got so much going to it.
I feel like Aliens could make you a fan of sci-fi horror. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. So we'll just get into the next one now, which starts off on a bit of a sour note. This is Alien 3. Now, a lot of people hate this movie, don't they, for the first 10 minutes. So basically we see our characters from the last film who we love, Hicks, Ripley and Newt, who survived, and Bishop, supposedly, to basically just be killed off with some words on a computer screen saying they're deceased. And I think that is the most bullshit way to kill off these characters. I mean, you couldn't even give them an on-screen death. I mean, it is a sour taste in the mouth straight away. But I think if you can see past that, and I don't really blame anyone who can't, I do think there's a decent little Alien movie in Alien 3, Paul. So whereabouts are you with this one, mate? Because a lot of people just do not like it, including David Fincher himself. In fact, no one hates this movie more than him, he said.
I'm sort of down the middle with Alien 3. I don't hate it, nor do I particularly enjoy. I don't particularly enjoy it. I can get some fun out of it. Alien 3 was the first Alien film I ever watched. This before I even knew who Newt or Hicks even was. So at the time I watched it, I didn't give a shit. I just wanted to see aliens and people dying and stuff like that, you know, when you're watching films at a young age. So I watched it a bunch of times, like growing up, like just not caring about the start and how it starts. I just enjoyed it because it was sort of like a alien horror movie. That's how I sort of remember Alien 3 from my childhood. But as I started getting sort of enamored with the franchise and then discovering the second and the first film and then sort of watching them in order, and then again, as I got older, sort of viewing it through more of a film fan eyes, the problems really started to show with the film. It's such a tonal departure from the second film, even the first film. And some people really like this about it, that it's just out there, completely tonally different. But it's bleak, man. It is such a bleak, depressing hopelessness of a movie that to a point where I feel like when I'm watching it now today, I'm just watching it like, man, this film's just bleak. Like I'm just watching it like no one's like everyone's dying. They're on this really gritty planet with rapists and murderers. I quite like the location, actually. I quite do like the location of the Fiona 161 male isolated planet. I think that was quite a cool little location to take the film. I like that it goes back to more the horror roots of the first film. It has the one Xeno. It has no weapons in it, so the characters are very vulnerable. But my biggest problem with the movie, my biggest problem with the film is I love the character of Ellen Ripley, and I feel her character deserved a better ending. Where that, like, I know that the point of the Alien films are they are supposed to be sort of bleak and depressing and sort of hopelessness, and it's just that sort of world. But I feel like when you've been following this character for 2 films and all the shit she's been through, by the time you get to the end of the 3rd one, you just want her to have sort of get back to earth, something, just to have a happy life. And the film just keeps downtrodden it all the way through, and you're just like, man, he's got no hope here at all. There's some cool set pieces in it, some characters I like in the film, but I think it's just such a step down from the second film, a very much a step down from the second film, especially if you say if you're binging them all in a day, like as a trilogy, over a day or a weekend. After riding the high on 1 and 2, and then you go into 3, you're just like, man, let's go. Like, this is depressing.
I think you've pretty much said it all there, Paul. But what I will say is, I think I do enjoy this one a little bit more than you. I give it 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. But it is like a movie about death, isn't it? I mean, I feel like this movie just said, yeah, we want to just end this franchise. No, we're just going to kill everyone, basically. And it really, no wonder, like Resurrection, which we'll come on to, had to take place 200 years later because there was nowhere else to go, was there?
Yeah.
I don't think. But I do think there's good build up. There's some good tension in here with the xenomorph like coming out of that. I watched the assembly cut, so I think it comes out of a bull in this one, and not a dog, is it? I believe. And it's like it is kind of running around like a little bit of a different creature, a little bit. I do like some of the kills in here, like Charles Dance's character, where I think it lifts him up and just crush his skull or something with the little mouth or something. And then we've got that guy who gets backed into the fan, which is like a really gnarly kill as well. So I do think it's got its moments. I do like the way Ripley is not just up against the xenomorph here, but you've got to look watch her back with these characters as well, because these like prisoners who are rapists and murderers, they haven't seen a woman in years, so she's got to worry about that. And I love the way she goes into the dinner hall, by the way, and just like doesn't give a damn and just sits in there and goes, yeah, I'll take it all on, I don't care. I
like that as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about the shaved head back in the day, I believe, as well, like a lot of uproar about it, but a lot of talk about it. But that just didn't bother me this time. I didn't even hardly notice it, to be honest. Not that that's a huge plot point or anything. But there's some characters in here that I think, like I do like Charles Dance, Pete Postlethwaite. There's a great cast in there. I forgot the name. Is it Brian something? The man,
the warden guy.
The warden, yeah. Great actor as well. But I really don't like this Dylan character. I hate the way. I think you said in your review you like him. Is that right?
That's probably my favorite character, isn't he?
Yeah. I'm not really into these characters who are over religious and always talking about the Lord and stuff, like that woman from The Mist. So we got on my gears a little bit, but overall, I think it's a pretty solid bunch of characters. And yeah, I just think it's a decent Alien film if you can look past them first 10 minutes. The ending, I'm a bit conflicted on. Like you said, it's a bit of a disservice to Ripley. It's good the way she sacrificed. Like, she's either got to sacrifice herself and kill this alien, or go with everything she's gone against and let the company take this damn thing. And she doesn't know what to do, and it's like an impossible situation for her. I mean, she'd be the ultimate hypocrite if she didn't kill herself, but obviously she does. It's a bit of a horrible death as well, just jumping into a load of fire.
I think what annoys, that's quite a good point you said, actually, because it is the fact of she either kills herself with this alien or she gives it up to the company, which she's been trying to stop for the last 2 films. But it annoys me that the alien's even in her, because there's no explanation to it. Like the start, oh god, it annoys me so much. And I've read, honest to God, Jordan, I've been on so many fan theories. I've read so many YouTube, Alien 3 explained, and no one can come up with a solution for it. It's just fan theory stuff. But there's no explanation at the end of Alien 2 and the start of Alien 3 how that egg got on that ship. And it annoys me every time I watch the film. It really bugs me, and I can't look past it at all. It really, because especially when you're on sort of a binge watch as well, and then you get to 3, like I can imagine back in the day, maybe after like I don't know 5 or 6 years since the original, since number 2 come out, you maybe forgot it and you just like, well, let's just go and watch a new Alien film, right? Aliens, we need to get them somehow. When you're watching it as a massive fan of the franchise and you want the story all to work, that really breaks the narrative, which then breaks the film for the whole film. For me, this is just how my stupid head works. And so when we get to that ending and she has to kill herself, and I don't want her to die because I love the character, don't want her to have a happy ending. I'm like, well, and you just said like, but she's got the alien in her, she needs to kill herself. I'm like, yeah, but that alien shouldn't be there. You know what I mean? It's like loads of like silly narrative decisions in the film which don't make sense. But like you said, I can have fun with it. It's a good enough Alien film. It's got the aliens, more stuff you want in it, but narratively, as a piece of the story of Aliens, it just there's things in it that bug me.
Yeah, I think that's just lazy writing, mate, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And I don't think Ellen Ripley is that dumb, but before she put her in Newton cryo sleep, I'm pretty sure she would have just double checked the ship anyway, just in case.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I can't even go out the house without checking all the plugs. So, but yeah, I mean, I believe the studio were like writing parts of the script, telling David Fincher to film it, and then writing the next part of the script as he's putting all that together and stuff. So there's a lot of studio interference there, and you can it is on screen to see, isn't it? Like some of the stuff you just mentioned there, it shouldn't be in it. So I think we pretty much may have covered Alien 3 there, Paul, because it is a very bleak film, and I think we can get onto a bit more of a fun-filled film, I think, especially after this rewatch. So anything else to say on Alien 3, mate? I mean, I think pretty much. I mean, I don't. By the way, I just want to say I do like the prison setting as well. I mean, it sort of leans into what I was saying before, where she's got to watch it over the shoulder with the prisoners and stuff. But I do think that's a cool idea, having this prison planet, basically, and they are isolated out there. Nothing really comes and visits the planet for like 6 months and stuff. So it does feel like a very isolated film, or isolated setting, should I say? But anything else to say on Alien 3, Paul, before we move on?
Yeah, no, like I said, man, I'm not a hater of it, but I don't love it. Like, there's people out there that absolutely love this film. I've seen people rank this their favourite one, and if they've got the reasons why, cool. I've got my reasons why. The second one's my favourite one of all time, and everyone's different. It's that big of a franchise that people like the different parts of Alien for different reasons. But for me, it's just after riding the high of the second film. Because I don't ever really watch Alien 3. I don't ever just go, oh, I fancy watching Alien 3.
Yeah,
I'll normally watch it. I'll normally watch it when I'm sort of binging through them. And I'm like, I suppose I best watch Alien 3. It might work for me this time. Might work for me. Every time, just like, this film's bleak, man. It's depressing. But there's stuff in there. There are things that I like about the Alien franchise that are in there and done really well. Cool characters, some cool kills, like the location, but it's for me, it's a major step down after the second film.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. Yeah, as much as I did like it again on this rewatch, it's not one it's not my go-to Alien film, but it's always. But yeah, that is Alien 3. Mahanju, I know you are in the comments, mate, but a lot of your comments are about Romulus, so I will get to them when we get to Romulus, mate, definitely.
Yeah,
not ignoring you, nothing. So Alien Resurrection next. Now, this is a film for me, Paul. I think I had it on VHS or I rented it, and I did not like it at all. I just thought, this is stupid, over the top, not for me. Not what I was expecting from an Alien film, because I couldn't go to the pictures to see it. I was too young. So when I finally got it on VHS, I was just like, no. And
even when you were a kid? Even when you were a kid, you didn't like it?
Mate, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. This will be interesting.
To be honest, I wasn't really madly into sci-fi as a kid. I mean, I loved Aliens. I loved it. But I wasn't really madly into sci-fi movies and stuff. And I thought there was a lot of that in this, with the way it tells the story about all these pirates coming from another planet and stuff. And they are pirates, aren't they, really, in space?
Yeah.
But over the years, I've rewatched it, and it has got slightly better for me every time, but not to the point where I loved it. And it'd been a few years, but when I rewatched it the other day, I thought, wow, this was actually a really fun film. And it really grew on me, and I just had a great time with it. I think it's a movie that wears its heart on its sleeve because it knows it can't be classed as in the same class as Alien and Aliens, and it just tries to have fun and tries to be a fun Alien movie. Unlike for some people, maybe like yourself, that Alien 3 was. So yeah, I just think it's got a lot of great characters in there. It's got fun action set pieces, and it really just, like I said, tries to have fun. It's got one of the best moments in the entire franchise in that underwater scene. So it's got some good ideas. That I've got problems with it as well. But where are you standing with Alien Resurrection then, Paul? You a fan of this one?
Yeah, I really like Alien Resurrection. I got it on VHS as a gift. It was either for birthday or Christmas. I can't quite remember, but it must have been around. I think it came out in '97, so it must have been maybe around '98, maybe '99. I can't remember how long it used to take VHSs to come out. But I remember getting it because when you used to get a VHS brand new, not your ex rentals, it had the cellophane on the actual tape and stuff. So I remember opening it. I remember just watching it just over and over and over again. And I used to always think to myself, like, oh, this Alien movie's for me because it's come out for like around my time now. Like I've seen Mum and Dad's Alien films, 1 to 3. This is for me, this one. And like you said, it is fun compared to the bleakness of number 3, which people love Alien 3 for that. This one's more in tone of what I like from an Alien film. I just fun entertainment, and no, it's nowhere near, not even in the same fucking ballpark as the first 2 films. But it, like you said, it knows what it's doing. It's a bit cheesy, it's a bit campy. It plays with the lore of aliens. It adds in even bits of humor to it, which it's just weird in an Alien film, but it's for some reason it works in this one because it's just how the sort of the story goes. You know, you got that guy when he gets his head blown out the back and he's like, ooh, what the hell was that? He picks his brain out. He's like, just stuff like that, just silly little things like that. I generally think the xenomorph, the practical effects on the xenomorph, some of the best in the franchise. Like I think they look brilliant in this. Not so much the CGI, but when we're up close to them and it's practical effects, I think they look fantastic. I do like the crew of the Betty. Ron Perlman in there. You got the dude who was in CSI. I forget his name. The guy with the guns in his arm. Yeah, Michael Wincott in there. Winona Ryder, just a great cast of characters. They're not quite as good as the Colonial Marines and Aliens, but they have that sort of same dynamic with each other. They're all banter with each other and that. It's just fun set pieces in it. Like you said, the underwater scenes, great. There's a lot of cool chase scenes with the xenomorph. It's just quite a fast-paced film as well. That third act's bonkers. Never really liked that third act. It's never grew on me. I used to think, like, as I got older, like, that'll grow on me. There's something there that I'm not understanding with it as a kid. But even when I watched it like a week ago, and I'm just like, oh, that third act's fucking crazy, man. I commend it. I commend it for trying something new, which is something we'll talk about when we get to Romulus. I commend it for trying something new. But that third act's just nuts. Like, it doesn't work for me. But I like the film. I do like the film. Every time I rewatch it, I have fun with it. It's fun. It's a fun horror action film, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, like you said, mate, there's loads of fun stuff in there. I do think the xenomorphs are fine in this movie, but there was some moments, especially at the start, where they're in the cage, like behind the glass door, where it felt like Jurassic Park. It's sort of just the way it's filming and stuff, and then they're opening the mouths, and it just got like dinosaurs out of the noises.
It's like they're talking to each other, and that, isn't it? Like speech, like communicating with each other.
One of my favourite parts about the entire film, Paul, is how they escape. I love the way they both turn on the other xenomorph to kill it, and then the acid drops down. I thought that was a clever way to get out. Just shows how smart they are as well.
I will quickly say, though, it sort of counteracts the line that Ripley says in Alien 2 by saying you don't see them fucking each other over for a percentage.
Yeah.
They clearly will. If they need to, they will.
Yeah. But it just shows, like, I know it contradicts that line, but it just shows how fucking these are just killer machines, aren't they, man? They just want to get out and rip people apart. I love Ron Perlman in this. I like. At first, he's like a horrible, nasty character, but you do feel like it's a bit of a front, and he does actually care about these crew members that he's with. I mean, you grow to like him throughout the film, don't you?
Yeah.
I think what's her name, Winona Ryder. I always get her name and Minnie Driver mixed up. I don't know why. Don't know why, but she's a great character in this. She's obviously the android we've got here. I think she's probably my favorite character in the entire film. Love that guy with the gun on his arms, like you said. He's a cool bastard. But I just want to talk about Sigourney Weaver in this one. Now, I'm a bit conflicted on it. When I done my review, I actually put it in my mixed aspect, not me positive or negative. I'm not quite sure how to take it in this movie. Like, she's fine, but she doesn't fully feel like Ripley to me. She just feels like she's either like a robot or she's kind of on these drugs where it's like she's looking at people and stuff and just looks like she wants to kick everyone's ass. It's a bit weird. It's a double-edged sword for me. I like some of it. I don't like some of it. It felt like they were just bringing her back for fan service, like they need her on the cover, they need her in the film. But I think this film could have been fine without her if they just had a new lead protagonist or something. Did we really have to bring her back from the dead? I mean, it's done. So I know it's a clone and stuff, but what are your thoughts on Ripley in this one?
Yeah, I think Sigourney Weaver's gone on record saying, you know, what made you return for Alien Resurrection? She said something like 20th Century Fox dumped a dump truck full of money on my garden. And she went, well, let's talk then. I
heard that one, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. She does play a completely different character to how we know Ripley from the franchise, and it is because she is a clone, so she's not technically the Ellen Ripley we know, because even says in it, one of the scientists even says Ellen Ripley died trying to kill this creature. And we find out she's been infused with sort of xenomorph DNA, so she's got sort of like the strength of them and the sense of them and stuff like that. They have this weird pervy relationship she has this weird like pervy relationship with the xenomorph, like especially that scene when she's like stroking them and sleeping on them and stuff, and it's like, this is a bit too far. This is a bit too far out there for me, but I sort of understand what they're trying to do. I understand what they're trying to do, but it's not the Ripley I like. It's not the Ripley I know. It was cool to see her back in the film, but I think the idea you had is where they should have gone. They should have got a brand new character in, because by now, if it would have been a successful film, I don't think it did that great, which is why we didn't get more so quickly after it. Had they not have brought Ripley or Sigourney Weaver back and give us a brand new character, we could have had a well-established character by now, but we haven't, because, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, it's not my best sort of performance from Sigourney Weaver, nor my favourite version of her Ripley at all.
Yeah, I mean, what's really off about it as well, like in Aliens, do you remember that moment where she just goes, right, I'm going in to rescue them, I don't give a fuck what you say, she just drives that big fucking tanker or whatever it is to go and rescue them. Yeah, she's just like that to everyone, you're gonna die. Yeah. It doesn't really feel like the Ripley I know would be doing everything to help these characters, and it's like she's just like, yeah, I mean, I can't be arsed no more. I know it's not her, I know it's a clone, but it just feels so off.
Like that part when she pulls out the retractable mouth, is like, do you want a souvenir? I'm just like, nah.
Yeah, it's like
when you think of Ripley, when you think of her in that third act of Aliens, that is not the same Ripley at all. Do you know what I mean? I know it's not supposed to be, but that's the Ripley I like, not this weird long-haired brown leather suit wearing weirdo.
Yeah, who loves to play basketball. I wonder how many takes that took. I mean,
I think there is an interview with Ron Perlman when he says I'm pretty sure in the interview he says she did it first time, but bullshit. I don't even think that's a shot that she made. I think it's sort of a special effect. You know what I mean? Like edited or whatnot. But
yeah. Okay, just before we move on, Paul, I just want to mention the third act here. Now, this is my perfect thing of having a good idea and not executing it properly, because I just think the design of this thing really throws me off. It's got like puppy dog eyes, and you kind of feel sorry for it, even though it's like just take the Queen Alien out at one point or something.
It takes its jaw off.
You're just like, sorry?
It takes its jaw off.
Yeah.
Literally jaws it.
Yeah. And I'm just like, it's like this ruthless killing machine, but it just looks so cute, sort of thing. It just doesn't work for me at all. I think that was a very strange direction to go in, and it's like, it sort of sees Ripley as its mother and stuff. I think, good. I could see the idea, but he just didn't nail it properly, did they, in my opinion? And that's the worst part of the movie for me, is that last 20 minutes.
It's just too out there for me. Like, try something new, try something I haven't seen before. That third act for me is too out there. Where you got like the Queen Alien who's been fused with human DNA and it's got a womb and it has like a human pregnancy, and that weird, like the weird white alien comes out with the fucking black eyes and it's making like little doggy puppy noises and stuff. Like, what is this thing? And I do feel sorry for it when it's getting sucked out that air vent and it's screaming and she's crying. It's like, oh, poor disgusting. That is sick. It is class. Like when its skull's laughed and it just sucks out.
Yeah. I can't even remember the last scene of this movie.
So they go to Earth, don't they?
Oh,
they're on a collision for Earth.
Yeah. Oh my god, and Earth looks quite terrible.
Yeah. He even says in the film, doesn't Ron Perlman's character? And he goes, Earth, man, I'd rather stay up here with the things.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot that last. Yeah, you're right. And I was just thinking, then how did that end? But I remember now. Earth's just a shithole now, isn't it? And it's got like the Eiffel Tower half crashed in the background.
Like bloody. Let's go to Paris.
Okay. Yeah. So, anything else on Alien Resurrection, Paul? Or should we move on to Prometheus next? Is it?
Yeah, I think we covered it, man. It's just a guilty pleasure alien movie. It's fun. I have a laugh of it. I have a great time every time I watch it. Great characters, some cool set pieces. It's a fun movie. I enjoy it.
Okay. So we've got Prometheus next. Now, this is a movie that I really didn't like the first time I watched it. I went to cinema and went, what the hell was that all about? I was expecting a new Alien film because I think the still images that we got leading up to it in like magazines, and it might have been on social media at the time. I can't quite remember how long I've been on Expo, but I remember seeing Wayland Corp and stuff, sort of teasing that it was going to be an Alien film, and I felt really let down by it because basically you only sort of see that in the last scene of the movie, that like the xenomorph popped out and stuff. But when I rewatched it the other week, I'm just got a lot of time has passed now. We've got a new Alien film coming out next week anyway. I'm just going to go into this open-minded. I think it's actually a really brilliant film. What Ridley Scott done here is, I think he's got his own sci-fi story in mind, and the studio may have said, look, you need to put Alien in there somewhere, that this is, otherwise you can't make it. But when I watched this, I was actually more fascinated how he actually managed to sprinkle the Alien franchise into this story, because it does feel quite different, the direction it's going. But quite a lot of the movie, it's about mankind and how it was created, and you got these bloody engineers on another planet that may have created us, and it's in search of the answers of not the meaning of life, but the beginning of life. And there's so many other different little creatures in there that we encountered along the way. It's just a very different type of movie, I think, with what it's going for. So I was actually more impressed this time how he sprinkled all that and linked it to the original film. And I think it visually is a stunning movie. Like, I was watching this on Blu-ray, watching it going, man, this looks like a bloody 4K or something. And this was made in 2012. It's just unbelievable to look at. So the third act just goes all out. So many great moments in there, set pieces, like the storm we get, and you know, Elizabeth Shaw, where she's got that squid inside, and I was watching it going, holy shit. I mean, she's got to have Dan O'Donnell. It's got a lot going for it in that third act. But, Paul, what are your thoughts on Prometheus, mate? I did see your ranking today, but I'll just let you go with it.
Yeah, man. Like you, I went to watch it when it first come out. I think I generally think I went to watch it opening night or even opening day. I think I might have gone early. Super excited for it, and if I can remember, and every time I think about this, I'm like, did they or didn't they? But I feel like they did. I'm pretty sure this movie was marketed very heavily that it was an Alien prequel, very heavily, because that's why I wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
So at some point in the marketing, they must have been going, this is set before Alien, it's an Alien prequel. So I was like, well, let's go watch it then. Another Alien movie set before the original. We're going to find out where they come from, all that. I'm going to watch that. I remember watching it like, what is this film talking about? What is this? And the first time I watched it, I remember walking out of the cinema pissed off, like pissed off. I literally remember walking down the street from the View Cinema in Cheshire Oaks in Ellesmere Port, pissed off with this film. I was like, that is not the film you told me it was going to be. Now,
kind of like how all them people probably felt when they watched Halloween 3 in the 80s.
Yeah. Like, I was so annoyed with it, and I was like, and because I was watching it getting annoyed, I wasn't really paying attention to what the film was trying to tell me. I was just sat like, what is all this crap? Like, where's the alien? Let's go. But as I revisited it, and I revisited it again and again and again and again, this film should have been a standalone film. This film shouldn't have been marketed as an Alien prequel. It shouldn't be known as an Alien prequel in my eyes. I don't look at it as an Alien prequel. I look at it as a Ridley Scott new science fiction horror film that just happens to take place in the world that the Alien movie takes place in. And you can do that. You can have a completely different story. Just because the characters are in the same universe as another movie and another story doesn't mean you can't do a completely new story over here. And so that's how I sort of have to watch Prometheus to enjoy it. Now, if I can watch it without thinking about Alien, I can have a pretty good time of it. I do like the story. I do like some of the characters in it. I like the idea that you have these creatures, these engineers that are essentially who created life, and it's about trying to find the creators of us and why we were abandoned and why we were created. And then we find out that the people who created us want to take us out again, and they've got this black goo and they're experimenting with it, and it could potentially be something to do with where we got the xenomorph, but it's not. And there's when I'm watching it, just not thinking about Alien, I can have a good time of it. I think it's a like you said, beautifully shot movie. Like Ridley Scott, say what you want about the film, beautifully shot. Like, the guy knows how to shoot a film. I do enjoy the story. It's just when I start thinking about it tying into Aliens where my head starts falling apart for me. And every time I rewatch it, every single time, I can't help but do it. So the fact that it's not the Alien prequel, that the film, even now, even if like you were to read the back of the Blu-ray, I'm pretty sure it says on it like set in the world of Aliens, the prequel to Alien. It's like, no, it's not. It is, and people will say, well, it is because it's for this reason and that reason, but I just can't accept it as it, and I don't know why. I've rambled on a bit there, but I hope that makes sense.
No, fair enough, mate. Because I think it does tie into Alien and stuff, but I think one of the great things about Alien is you don't really know where these things have come from or anything. Do you want the answers? You know, they're just out there, aren't they? And Prometheus is sort of trying to explain all of that, and it's like, oh, so they aren't like really from another planet, and they haven't got their own, like they were sort of created by, I think this is more answered in Covenant, which we'll get to, but by David and stuff. And it's like, I do like the idea of not knowing, and they were just there. They came from another planet. They landed on that the planet in Alien, and that's where they are. But I do like the other questions it's asking in this movie about the start of mankind, because I was sort of going along for the ride with these characters. And when Elizabeth Shaw and lover in this, I forgot the actor's name, I'm really sorry, are getting excited about finding all these new like answers and little details and stuff. I was kind of getting excited as well. Like, I actually thought I was going along to learn the meaning of life, because I know that sounds stupid, but we don't actually know how we were created. And it was like, is this movie going to answer it for me? Like, what I'm trying to say is I got invested in it. I got immersed.
It is an interesting concept.
Yeah. Like, I sort of went along for the ride with these characters, basically, and I wanted to find out. I wanted to say, like, what really happened, because I totally forgot about it when I first watched it in 2012. It's been like 12 years since I watched it. And it was like a new movie to me. I just totally forgot loads about it. But I see myself getting fully invested with the story and these characters and going along for the ride. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I get that. But I do think a lot of people have warmed to this, especially lately on social media, because I don't know if you noticed, Paul, but social media has been batshit crazy with Alien franchises this week. The last couple of weeks, and it's been fun to see, actually. But a lot of people are saying how great Prometheus actually is, and I do think it's a really, really good film. But like you said, it's sort of its own story, and it's no sort of business being in it. Like I said, I'm still impressed that he managed to tie it in, because it's like Ridley Scott's got this whole universe in his head. He know how it works, and he's trying to just convey that on screen. So to me, that is more impressive, that he's actually got all this in his head and how he's worked it all out, how he's wrote all this down, and he's just got this massive vision, really. But I don't know if that's because the studio told him to. It feels like the way he's connected it all is impressive to me. That's all I'm going to say. But anything else to say on this one, Paul? Do you want to mention Idris Elba's American accent or anything, or just...
His accent's crazy. You know what, though? It was my first introduction to Idris Elba was Prometheus, and this before I knew he was British and before I'd seen him in anything else that I remembered anyway. So imagine my surprise when I first discovered Luther. I was like, hey, it's him out of Prometheus. I was like, whoa, he's British. He's from London. I struggle to talk about this film. I can't believe I ever got a review out for it, because my mind goes in so many different directions with this movie. But if I could sum it up, when I try and view it as its own thing, and I did this leading up to Romulus, I sat down and watched it, and I have watched it a handful of times since 2012. And then I'm like watching, I'm like, yeah, I like this. I like the engineers. I like this story about trying to find the meaning of life. And we're going into this planet, and it looks beautiful, and it's getting a bit horror. But the second it starts doing things that brings me back to Alien, I'm like, it's not working for me. It doesn't work for me. And it's the same as people in the Star Wars fandom. There's some of the stuff that George Lucas did in the prequels just don't work for people. And I'm a hypocrite to say that I like the prequels in the Star Wars, and I like what he did, and I think it ties well in with the original trilogy, and other people will call me batshit crazy for saying that. But I'm in that camp with the Alien franchise where I'm like, no, that doesn't work for me. Do you know what I mean? But it's a fine film. It's okay. It's just not my favourite.
Fair enough, mate. Okay, so we'll move on to Alien Covenant next. Now, this is probably my least favourite movie when I first watched it, because I didn't like Prometheus at the time, and I went into this, I actually thought they were going to do something different.
Did you go watch this when it first come out?
Yeah. I went and watched this in 2017 when it came out.
Yeah.
And I actually thought we were getting a brand new sort of Alien film just by... and it's
the marketing.
Yeah, it's all connected to Prometheus and stuff, and it's just doing that thing again. And I was really disappointed in it. But I watched it again the other week after really liking Prometheus, and it worked a lot better for me. I don't think it's as good as Prometheus, but there's some stuff to like in here. I do like the whole character of David in this one. Like, he's an asshole, obviously, but it expands on him a lot and what the androids are actually capable of. I like a lot of the alien action. I mean, there's a lot more of that than Prometheus, and I think it was important to have a lot of xenomorph action in here, because if you'd done the same as Prometheus and hardly had any, you are straying way too far away from the franchise there. So it sort of brings it back a little bit there, and I know they've probably done that because a lot of fans were pissed off with Prometheus, but I do think the xenomorph stuff works, and the alien connection works a hell of a lot more in this one than it does with Prometheus. And yeah, I mean, there's a cliffhanger on here, and it's a massive cliffhanger. But for me, my biggest problem with this movie is it feels like a very middle chapter of a trilogy we haven't got. Like, it just feels like the story needs to continue to work. It's not like a film you can just go and watch Covenant. You need to watch Prometheus and this sort of to let them connect. And it just, I feel like we need that third movie what Ridley Scott had planned to make this all come together. It feels like something is missing from it, if that makes sense. And also, I do think this is probably the weakest bunch of characters in any Alien movie. There's no one really memorable for me here, apart from David and / Walter is his name. Michael Fassbender is by far the best character in this movie, but everyone else, no one, I weren't really connecting to anyone, even the main female protagonist and stuff. Just weren't doing it for me. But it's a very mixed bag, this movie. I think I give it like 6 out of 10 on my review. There's a lot to like visually as well. It's more of a darker version of Prometheus. Like, it looks lovely, but it's more in darker tone, more of a horror experience. But yeah, I mean, like I said, my main problem is it just feels like something is missing. So what are your thoughts on Covenant, Paul? Go on, sorry.
Do you prefer this to Prometheus, or do you think Prometheus is better?
I prefer Prometheus as a fully rounded film. Yeah.
Okay. For me, I think this is a little bit of a step up for Prometheus for me. Mainly just because there's an alien in it. That's as shallow as the reason it is, and not for how we get the alien in it, because I don't like that at all. It's just the fact that there is an alien sort of segment in the movie. I think it's a faster paced movie than Prometheus as well. I'd say it's more sci-fi horror than Prometheus. I think it doesn't take long to get going, and once it does, it just doesn't stop till the end. I love that scene in the grass when all like the white neomorphs are all jumping all over them and stuff like that. I do like the character of David. I like how they explored him further in it. I think it was a bit weird that they got rid of Shaw from Prometheus and sort of showed us how we got from A to B in a flashback. I think there's bits of the story missing in this film, and I feel like it was needed. My biggest gripe with this film, though, man, and before I get to the gripe, again, beautifully shot. Ridley Scott knows how to shoot a film. It's a flawless film visually in terms of direction. Characters, yeah, they aren't that great. Now I'm thinking about it, I can't remember one character's name. Is it Daniels? That's the main character, I think, like the woman in it. I think her name's Daniels. And then you got Danny McBride rocking a friggin' Tennessee. My biggest thing with this film, and I've had back and forths about it with fans on my comment section on my YouTube videos, as well as just online in sort of film fan groups, I cannot buy into the fact that David created the xenomorph. Now, there are fans out there saying he didn't create the xenomorph, the engineers did, he's just recreated them again. And okay, I don't like that either. I don't like the idea that the xenomorph is man-made or engineer-made. It just doesn't work for me. And if it works for other alien fans out there, cool. I'm glad that works for you. I'm really glad that ties up the alien xenomorph mythology for you. For me, it does not work. That is not. If you're going to give me the explanation to where these xenomorphs come from, that is not the one I'm willing to accept, and I won't accept. And so that's why, in a nutshell, neither of them films work for me, because they're answering questions that I don't want the answers to, but the questions I have, they don't give me the answers to either. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard to for the most part, I can watch it as just a sci-fi horror movie, a Ridley Scott sci-fi horror movie. But again, once it starts sort of trying to connect that tissue back into Alien, it doesn't work for me. And Xenomorph for me is just something out there. It's an alien. It's an alien. It's something we don't know what it is. We don't know where it comes from, how it got there. It's just a sort of parasitic alien organism in space, and that's all I need to know. I don't need to know where it come from. And if I do want to know that, I do not want to know that it's sort of man-made or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that's more talking about sort of lore and story. But the film in general, Alien Covenant, for the first three quarters of it, I sort of get a kick out of. But once it has that tacked on sort of xenomorph ending, which feels very studio-y interference, because it just feels so out of place for the rest of the film. I'm sort of like, yeah, nah. And like you said, it ends on a major cliffhanger, and we could get it if we were to get that third movie that can really sort of piece it all together, and then which will bridge the gap to Alien. They could do something there to maybe get me on board with the entire trilogy, which we were supposed to get. But when you leave, it's left open. It's an unfinished story. So to go from Prometheus, if you're watching them in sort of timeline order, to go from Prometheus to Alien Covenant, then into Alien, there's such a big gap of story missing. It feel weird. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it sort of harks back to what we were saying here, doesn't it? Like, where you don't really want to know. I mean, it's the alien is just out there. That's the whole point of an alien. But yeah, like there's some different like the evolution of the xenomorph is in this movie. I think they're called neomorphs, and then the predatormorph, is it? That's what it, according to Alien Wiki. I mean, was you a fan of that? Because I thought that was interesting, to be honest, seeing these different types of xenomorphs. Or would you rather just have the one xenomorph, basically?
No, I've always liked the idea of different xenomorphs. Just this is going to sound daft, but when I grew up, when I was a little kid, I used to have loads of alien figures, like toys, and each of them was like a different version of an alien. You could get like a scorpion alien or a tiger alien, and all these different variations of the black xenomorph. So I like the idea that, for me though, the idea of the xenomorph, its sort of life cycle is its version of itself depends on what it's the facehugger, the host of, and then it births the characteristics of whatever it's in. I much prefer that to sort of to have different versions of the xenomorph. But in Alien Covenant, it tries to say that the engineers are trying to come up with sort of bioweapons and stuff like that, and David's trying to perfect their designs, and then he ends up making these white aliens, and it's just convoluted. Just thinking about it and talking about it, it's just so
your head a little bit.
Yeah, it's just like I like the scenes of them when they're like in the grass, like the velociraptors in Jurassic Park and that, and they're taking them all out. But it just it's too much from a alien lore headcanon to process it all. Just a lot of it doesn't work for me.
Jumping out the spines and stuff in this movie instead of chest as well.
That's sick. No, that's sick. That's probably my best killing. That, mate, that scene's gnarly as hell. I love that.
I love the shower scene as well. I know you said it was studio interference, but I do like that scene as well.
Yeah.
I just want to, before we move on to like Romulus, did you see the twist coming the first time? Because I seen it a mile away, and I don't think that twist is all that impactful. Like, it's a good ending, but I just seen what was going to happen. Ridley Scott basically tells you that this is going to happen with one little still just before we cut away. Did you see that coming, or was it a shock for you? Where you have David
you find out David's took him out and took his sort of
killed Walter, has he? And then he's on
I didn't see it the first time around, but I'm shit at seeing twists in movies. I'm really bad for it. Did I? I can't quite remember, to be fair, John. I don't think so. I don't remember sitting there going, well, he's clearly fucking him. But when I watched it the other week leading up to Romulus, I was like, yeah, it's right there. Like, it's quite an easy twist. But no, the first time I watched it, I can't remember remembering it.
I remember that being a big disappointment the first time I watched it in the cinema as well, because I was like, I seen that coming about 20 minutes before it done. But interesting where his journey is going there. But I would like a third film to this, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll probably get into really quickly where we want the Alien franchise to go in a minute. But we're moving on to Romulus now, Paul. I don't think there's much more to say about Covenant, is there?
No, let's go. I'm excited to talk Romulus.
This is the moment I've sort of been waiting for here. I mean, I went to see this movie twice now. I know you have as well, Paul. That's right, isn't it? I went last night again. I went on Sunday, and I was so excited all day to go and see this again. Like a movie I'd watched 2 days before, and I loved it even more a second time. Now, I have not stopped thinking about this film for the past since the first time I've seen it, and even today after the second time I've seen it. I absolutely loved this movie. It was everything I wanted from a new Alien movie. It was my most anticipated movie of the year, and it didn't disappoint. In fact, it exceeded my expectations. There's not many negative things I've got about it, and I've noticed the second time, I think it was even more faster paced. Like, it absolutely flew by the second time I watched it. I just remember walking out the cinema with a big grin on my face, and I absolutely love this film, and I think it's going to be a rewatchable movie for me in future. Can't wait to pick it up on 4K. But Paul, initial thoughts on this one, man, when you first seen it?
Yeah, I was super hyped.
Second time you've seen it as well.
Yeah, I was super hyped for this film. It was one of my most anticipated of the year, easy by far. Just knowing Fede Alvarez was directing, because I'm a massive fan of the Evil Dead remake. So I wanted to see what he could do in the world of Alien. I walked out ecstatic. I was happy. It gave me everything I want in an Alien movie. It exceeded my expectations, same as you. It exceeded them. Like, I had ideas in my head of what I wanted, and it gave me everything that I wanted, and as well ideas in my head I had in my head that now I've seen the film, I'm glad they didn't do. I just loved it. Like, I loved it. It's a tall when you're coming in back into a franchise that hasn't had a decent Alien film, in my opinion. This just for me, since that second film, you've had a lot of mixed bag movies. This for me is Aliens is back. Now there are fans out there, rightly so, not happy about it, because it does the cardinal sin of fan service, which people don't like in their films, in franchise films. I understand people who don't like these. I don't, depending on how it's pulled off. Now, there are a couple of fan servicey moments in here that don't work. For the majority, though, they all landed for me. More just sort of the callbacks to the world of Alien as a whole, rather than lines of dialogue. There's just the look of it. They're just, as soon as the film opens with the same sort of credit font as the original movie, a Fede Alvarez film, and it's dead quiet. I was like, oh. Straight away, I was locked in. Straight away, I was like, oh man. Even on the 20th Century Fox logo, and it went all green and static, I was like, oh.
I put the popcorn in my mouth and went, oh, I'll just wait a minute here.
Yeah, it was dead quiet. I was like, turn it up, man, I can't hear it. Fede Alvarez absolute nailed the look of the film. It feels like we're in the world of Alien and Aliens. Obviously, it's set between the two. A lot of people aren't a fan of the characters, feel like they're a bit one-dimensional. I can understand that as well. I sort of had that on my first time around. The second time around, I sort of grew to like a lot of the characters and understood them a bit. And I've said to a few people, that I don't remember any of the characters. I'm like, did you remember all the characters in Alien the very first time you watched that film? Because I'll guarantee you didn't. It's only because you've seen them films so many times that you know the characters inside out. And I feel like, the more times you watch Romulus, the more you'll remember the character names, the traits, stuff like that. Really loved the dynamic of Rain and Andy in the movie, the sort of brother sister. Just you go. I could talk all night about this, but I loved it. I'm a bit conflicted on the third act. We will get into that, but I did really, really like the film.
It is a great point about the characters, though, because I do think I liked them anyway, but the second time I was like, I forgot the Asian girl's name. I forgot it. What's her name? Begins with N.
Navarro.
Yeah. I liked her a lot more in the second viewing. I thought she was kind of cool. But I did grow to like them even more on the second viewing. But the main two characters obviously are Rain and Andy. I thought Kaylee Spain done a great job in the main protagonist role here. Like this, she sort of grows into. I know she's not Ellen Ripley, and I know she's not trying to be like, but there is sort of a little bit of a same dynamic there where she starts to kick a little bit of ass later on with that rifle and stuff. She sort of grows into it. And Andy, for me, was one of the best things about this movie, played by David Johnson, because he sort of, I don't know if he's like got a bit of a glitch or something as a robot at the start, because he's not fully 100%, is he? Has he been damaged or something? Apparently his dad found him in the trash, or maybe he was damaged and put him back together. Yeah. And it just shows this actor's range when they swap the chip and he becomes like a Wayland tech android. And there is such a fun dynamic of the film, because we don't know whether to trust these androids going by the first two films, especially. We've got Bishop, who's a good android, and we've got Ash, who's a bad android. And he kind of plays both of them characters. I thought that was a really good idea to bring that to the film from Fede Alvarez. And he was just one of the best characters in the entire franchise for me. And that is saying something when you've got so many great characters in Alien and Aliens. But I thought he'd done a fantastic job. The action set pieces were great. I mean, that moment with the acid was fantastic. I thought that was a great idea. I've seen people call it ridiculous and stuff, but I thought that was a really cool, creative thing to do. We haven't seen, like, we know these xenomorphs have got acid blood, but they've never used it in a way like that, I don't think, and that was really cool, I thought. There's so many things to say. I really like the way they expanded on the Wayland Corporation in this as well. The way they've got, like, at the start of the movie, they're kind of like slaves, really, aren't they? Sort of. They're being treated and stuff. There might be a little bit of social commentary in there, but I don't know if Fede Alvarez was going for that. And you can see why these characters want to get off this planet, because there's no hope for them. They might as well take the risk, because they're going to die anyway with all these diseases and stuff they're catching in their mind. Their parents have died and stuff. So it's not a very safe place to live. So it gives them reason to do something outrageous and try and get on this ship to go to another planet with the sunlight and stuff. So I just think it's a very well written film. And like, you see that stuff early on. Oh, this girl's pregnant. That comes into it later on. David Johnson telling the jokes. That comes into it later on with the gravity and stuff. I think it was really well put together. So, yeah, I just want to say, Paul, as well, that I noticed a lot more on this second viewing. What's that girl's name who's pregnant? Do you remember?
No.
Okay. No. Well, she goes through hell in the movie, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah.
She's just always constantly, like, screaming or looking somewhere in shock. And you know what? I actually noticed how great of an actress she actually was in this second viewing, because she really does pull off them expressions and stuff. She looks terrified throughout this entire film.
She's playing Dina in Last of Us Season 2.
Oh, is she? Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Well, great choice then.
Yeah.
But she really does pull it off of being this terrified character, and she sees, like, obviously she's pregnant at the start, she's throwing up, so that's nothing compared to what happens later on. But she sees her cousin get killed, she sees her brother get killed, she gets fucking cocooned by a xenomorph, and next minute she's giving birth to this fucking alien egg, and I'm like, she goes through it more than anyone in this movie before eventually, there is a big spoiler warning at the bottom of the eye, before eventually being killed off. I just thought she went through hell, and I noticed that a lot more second time round. But Yeah, well, I'll let you speak for a bit, Paul. I've got plenty more to say, but anything else you want to mention there?
Yeah, the first time I went to watch this was on IMAX, and that scene when she sees the chest burster and she screams, man, that was deafening in
Oh,
IMAX.
yeah,
And I was like,
she's used that as well. Yeah,
that scream is like, you sometimes watch horror films and the girl's like, screaming, like she's like fucking terrified what she's just seen. You could see on her face, the expression on her face was terrifying. Yeah, I like. I tell you what, spoilers. Well, let's go spoilers, man, because the spoiler warning's there. Yeah. I liked how this connected from the first film. I liked that they got the alien from the crashed Nostromo ship from the first. Yeah. That scene at the start when you see the whaling ship and it's going to that debris, and then you see the Nostromo name on the side of that blown off piece of the ship. I was like, oh, man, that's awesome. I will say to you though, George, the fact that the alien from the original movies in this film was spoiled for me ahead of seeing the film. I knew that going in, and I'd accidentally sort of read it online. You know, when you can't when you can't avert your eyes from something. So I knew that going in. But that when I read it before seeing the film, that made me more excited for the movie, because I was like, oh, they're doing something to tie it in to the alien world. I love this derelict space station they're on, the Romulus space station. And it's like, again, we're going back to the first film, it's like a haunted house in space, all the dingy corridors and all the lights are blown up and it looks all abandoned. And again, if you get round to playing Alien Isolation, George, you will see the influences from that in this. And even I'm pretty sure Fede's even come out and said, like, he played that game and did borrow a lot from it for this movie. Let's talk about the xenomorphs.
To do the whole film. What I read.
Yeah. Let's talk about the xenomorphs in it. For me, I'm going on record now. The xenomorphs in this film are the scariest they've been in the entire franchise. There were scenes and shots of this film of the xenomorph that was sending me, like, giving me like the shivers and giving me like goosebumps. I was like, oh, these things are nasty in this. The look, the practical effects, how they were shot, how they were lit up, how they were hiding in the shadows. Just wonderful stuff, just stuff we hadn't seen before in the Alien franchise. How we were seeing, how we get from chestburster to full Xeno in the cocoon, rather than in the original film, he just goes from A to B. We're seeing how it gets from A to B, and this is expanding on the alien lore. Fede putting his stamp on the lore of the xenomorph. The face huggers in it. Face huggers were terrifying. The way they were jumping around against the wall and just relentlessly after them. There's so much. Sure, this film is just littered with what I wanted from an alien film, and it's surprising the hell out of me that people are enjoying this film. There are people out there flat out saying they don't like this film. Like, how can you say that as an alien fan? That does not compute in my head at all. How can you watch this as an alien fan and being like, I don't like any of this? Crazy, man. Now, there are some callbacks in the film. There are lines of dialogue repeated from more of other movies in the franchise. I don't like that in any movie. It does not work for me, because it's sort of breaking the fourth wall and sort of winking at the audience, and I don't like that, because it sort of reminds me that I'm watching a movie. If that, as stupid that sounds, it sort of pulls me out of the film. The character of Rook, the Ian Holm sort of deep fake, pulled me out the film, man. Did not work for me compared to how the rest of the film, look at the rest of the film, it's beautifully shot, gorgeous CGI, blends flawlessly. That looked awful. I don't know why they did that. I wonder why they did that. What was your thoughts on the Ian Holm thing?
Obviously they're using, that must be the android at the time that the Wayland company are using. I mean, they probably all just look the same. Could they have done it with a different android? Maybe, but then it shows the audience that this android version can't be trusted. So we sort of know he's the villain by looking at him straight away. Go on,
I haven't got a problem with the character of Rook. I just feel like they maybe could have done that bit, did it differently. They could have just done that as an animatronic, or even like hid it in the shadows so you sort of know it's him, but you know, they could have hid the CGI, because it's like full on in your face. It's like this. Parts of it like full on in the screen.
it's amazing that they can actually do this, to be honest. So I feel bad slating it because it's amazing that they can bring people, and it was by his family's
Approval.
the approval, by the way. But it's amazing that you can actually do this. But yeah, it didn't look great. So I feel bad slating it because it's an amazing thing, but it does look very animated and it does pull you out the film a little bit. I must admit, on the second watch, didn't bother me as much, but it still bothered me. But the first time I was like, oh, that just doesn't look great. I kind of expected it on the second watch, and I think I will grow to learn to just get on with it.
Accept it.
There's a lot of interesting dialogue that he's actually coming out with here, and letting you know what's going on and stuff, especially with the black goo and everything. So I think I'll learn to just get on board with it. But yeah, it didn't look great. It's one of my main gripes about the film. So yeah, it might have been better if they just done it a little, like you said, sort of half showing his face. But he is in the movie a lot, so would that have worked? I think would it have worked not showing him properly and stuff, because he is in like 4 or 5 different scenes, isn't he? So, it's a tough one. It's a big gripe. Yeah, I get why many people don't like this. And what I will say, when you were talking about the callbacks and stuff, I didn't mind any of this fan service at all. I liked it, but that one line where "get away from here," I think he could have just left it there and not said "you bitch," because that's a throwback anyway. But the fact that an android actually said it just made it feel a little bit even out of place. If you get, I mean, I know these androids are human-like anyway, but it just felt so off that he said it. If it was another character, it mightn't have felt so off, but I still wouldn't have liked it in the film. You're never going to top the original Ellen Ripley line, are you? Let's be honest. So
it's like, it's so out of character. I mean, I can't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't he keep getting called a bitch in the film by that other guy? He might not. He might not at all. Do they tee it up sort of that way? I can't remember if they do that.
I can't remember now, mate, to be honest.
Anyway, even if they do, that line had no business being in this film at all, because, like I says, it's so meta and it pulls me out. It pulled me out the film so much. Just the way he delivers it wasn't great either. And
even when he was about to say it, I was in the cinema going, "Don't say it."
Oh no! Yeah.
My wife actually liked this. She was like, like with grin on her face, because she watched Aliens with me the other day, so she got onto it. Like,
I can imagine there's going to be hundreds of people, thousands in the world, that have seen that and we're like, yes. But for me, it doesn't work. It doesn't work in any film, to be honest. Not many films. Like 99% of films, if you do like a callback line like that, especially such a famous line, doesn't work.
Second watch, sorry, Paul, I'm gonna let you carry on now. But on my second watch, when he was about to say it, I just sort of listened to see what.
Yeah. I was doing that. Yeah. I hope someone uploads the movie online or on YouTube and just takes that line out. I wish I could do it myself. I wish I could get it on 4K. Sort of go in, take that line out, and the movie that would just work better without it. What a weird decision. I just think so. Fede, surely Fede, come on, man, you did not put that in there.
Studio
I was like, like Fede wouldn't have put that in there. No way. But yeah, out of all the sort of fan servicey callback stuff, that's the only one that pulled me out. The rest of it, I really like. Like, it's little sort of things like they talk about cornbread at the start. I was like, that's obviously a nod to Aliens. They have the nodding sort of bird statue thing from Alien.
Yeah.
Just little background stuff like that. I was like, I was eating it all up, man. I was like, because I like being reminded.
He's got the same chainies on as well as.
That's right, the Reeboks. Yeah. Little things like that. Just like it. I don't mind being reminded I'm in the world of a franchise I like, and Star Wars does this really well. And again, people hate it in Star Wars, but I really like it. I like being reminded that these are the things of why you like the aesthetic of the franchise you like, and that to me is what fan service is for. But it's I can understand why I can understand why people don't like it. But for me, I just don't get it. I don't understand what the problem is.
Yeah, I've been surprised that there's lots of people who like it, but I've been surprised at some of the people who've got problems with the whole movie, and it's just like, oh, it's just like a greatest hit sort of thing. But we've just had Prometheus and Covenant, which was very, very different.
And no one
happy
like
to get it.
that got slated for being too different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think you'll ever win. Like, if Aliens came out today, there would be people moaning about it. There would. They just would.
100%.
That's the world we live in now. And I'm not saying if you didn't like it, I'm not saying you're wrong or anything, but I just feel like that's the way movie discussion goes these days. Like, it's just people pick things apart, don't they? But I think people go overboard sometimes. Like, if one thing doesn't work for them, that movie's trash. You know, like there'll be people saying the movie's trash because of that one line, and it's just the way that the world works these days, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't say a movie's trash because 4 seconds of a 2-hour film pulled you out for half of 4 seconds. Like, so what did you think of the Prometheus Covenant sort of tie-in?
Yeah, it was fine. I don't think it played too heavy on it, but it just sort of felt like, we are going to not forget about them films. We are going to throw them in there. It's just where you're on about the sort of black goo thing and stuff. It was enough. It wasn't over, but it was just enough. It was only like a minute scene, minute 2 scene. I liked that. I was happy with that. It takes inspiration from all the films, really, doesn't it? I know Resurrection is probably the main talking point, which we'll get to in a minute, but I think the story worked perfectly, to be honest. I mean, everything just worked for me. I think because I was thinking before going in, how are they going to tie this between 1 and 2? Because we're like, obviously the Wayland Corp and stuff were like, they hadn't found any xenomorphs until Ripley tells them. So was there more? Where were they between these two stories? But I think it done it really well, to be honest, because it mainly comes from obviously the xenomorph in the first film. I think it done well to make it fit in there. Interesting to see where their character's going. I don't know where she's off to. Maybe she's going, like, I know the planet they name it, but that is not the planet that David has colonized, is it?
I hope not.
I've just had this thought in my head. Is that the planet that he's colonized many years before?
Is it? What do they call it?
No androids are allowed on there because they might outsmart him.
We might be onto something there. Yeah.
The Speddays come out and said we've got an idea for where we want to take it. I just thought that was just a thought. That's all.
What I liked about the sort of Prometheus Covenant thing in this is that it's, even though I'm not a fan of them films, they clearly want it to be part of the canon. Like they want this film's showed me that because Disney now owns all these movies. They want it all to tie in, and I think this movie did a good enough job of taking all the stuff that sort of worked from that and just plopping it in without it hitting you over the head with all the convoluted stuff. It's just like, we've got this black goo. It's a bioweapon. Wayland Yutani have now got it, and now they're tinkering with it to make other things, to make viruses and stuff. That's all. That's all, and that's all you needed out of them 2 films. You know what I mean? It's all you needed to bring in. So I'm happy that it sort of bridged the gap without having to give us a load of more convoluted story. You know what I mean? Just took the little bits that you needed from them films and popped it into the canon there.
Yeah, I think it worked. Like I said, the writing and stuff is really, really good in this film. I think it needs more credit, to be honest, the way it all connects, the connective stuff and stuff. Even like, not even just connecting to the other films, but like I said before, just the way it sort of sets up the movie with the pregnant girl, the jokes and stuff. I think it all comes together nicely. What about the kills in this one, Paul? I wouldn't say this. Like, I really loved that acid one where it was taking that guy's fingers off, that asshole's fingers off.
Oh, that was gnarly, man.
Yeah, even the second time I seen it, I was like, "Oh fucking hell, that must hurt that man!" And then just sort of melts and he, passes out and stuff. And the other one mainly is the xenomorph's mouth comes and goes right through that guy's skull. Felt kind of bad for him. I thought he was an alright little character. But was you happy with the gore here? Because obviously Evil Dead is a massive gore movie from Fede Alvarez. But that franchise is like that. Aliens isn't really like that. So I think he's sort of got a good balance with the blood and gore, to be honest.
Yeah, I remember seeing the certificate for this get announced, the BBFC certificate. It was only a 50, and I was like, okay, right, so it's not going to be balls to the wall, fucking heads getting blown off and all this. Like, just I knew it was going to be a bit more. I'm not going to say toned down, but I knew it wasn't going to be pushing that craziness. But it followed suit of the franchise, like you said, it followed suit. It's the first one ain't very gory and bloody. Neither's Aliens, really. You know, there's bits here and there, but it's not like people getting dismembered or, well, apart from Bishop. But like, it's, do you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, that's vile sort of like body horror of people getting like dismembered and whatnot. The kills in it, I thought were cool. It was very Alien-like. They just come in, poof, take it away, sort of thing. There was none that really sort of. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, I thought the chest pierce scene was done quite well as well, to be honest. You're not going to top that original, but the way the foam was coming out of her mouth and stuff.
It was gnarly, man. It was gnarly. Yeah. It was very tense as well, the way it was all put together. And, I did like the chest burst scene, to be fair. I thought it was done really well. It's probably the second best one in the franchise now. Yeah, it was fine. That was probably the gnarliest one. The whole acid all over him, and then his heart blows out because the acid pierces his heart. I thought that was pretty gnarly. But there was nothing like I was wincing or anything like that. But again, the Alien franchise has never been like that.
But just quickly before we get on to the third act, when you were mentioning the xenomorphs before, I forgot. Do you know when that lift comes down and crushes them all? And then there's my wife sort of turned to me and laughed when that one xenomorph just comes from behind the corner, like, I'm still here.
Yeah.
This little bastards, Andy.
It must have gone like, what?
Yeah. So should we get on to the third act, Paul, or what?
Let's go, man. Yeah.
Okay. Since you're the guest, mate, I'll let you go first. What did you think overall this third act? Because I know, did your mind change a little bit on the second viewing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we get to the third act. Obviously, we have the character who's pregnant, and she gets taken by the alien, gets injured. They get her back, and they get the black goo, which has been mass produced into like this virus, which Rook says in it that it's the next evolution of mankind or humankind or whatnot. And they're saying like use it to keep yourself alive. And I thought it was a bit of a daft character moment for me, because I don't know, maybe in that situation when you are at death's edge, you're like, I'll do anything to stay alive. But I was like, why the fucking hell would you inject that into yourself? And as soon as she did it, I was like, well, that's obviously going to lead to something at the end. But not what I expected whatsoever. Like for every idea I had in my head going into this movie of where this third act was going, especially when the early reviews were coming out saying this third act's going to fucking his balls to the wall, I was thinking like, oh, they're going to have like 2 queen aliens or something fucking crazy like that. Then when this pregnant character has this egg, births this egg, and it hatches, and there's a little baby in it, I was just sat there like, oh no. It reminded me of that scene in Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, when they have the baby after the character has the baby when she's been bitten, and it's a little zombie baby. I was like, oh no, we're going down Dawn of the Dead here. That's exactly what I thought. Straight when I seen the little baby, I was like, it's Dawn of the Dead. It threw me for a loop, man. It was not the direction I expected the movie to go whatsoever. And my jaw was just on the floor. I was like, what is going on here? And then I kept thinking, oh, they're doing Alien Resurrection again. They're doing sort of a reverse of Alien Resurrection, where instead of the alien birthing this thing, they're doing a human birthing an alien. So it's like reversed. It's like they've flipped the script on it. But even as the whole scene was happening, my head was just like, it's hard to explain. I can't explain to you in words of where my head was at. And I was just like, nah, surely not. Like, this is not where we're going. What is this? Where's this going? Why are we doing this? The design of the thing, this newborn 2.0, was gnarly as fuck. Like, it was like straight out of the Dead Space video game, man. It was like, this thing's fucking nuts looking. It was like half engineer, half xenomorph, half human. There was a little bit in it, there's a little scene in it where it comes face to face with Kaylee Spain and it smiles at her, like grins at her. I was like, fucking Freddy Krueger there, man. That's creepy as hell. It was the part in the movie where it went sci-fi horror. Like, this was the most horror the movie went. This was Fede Alvarez channeling that Evil Dead, channeling the horror that he likes. So the first time I walked out of it, I was just so conflicted on it. I was like, and I think it was because it subverted my expectations. And sometimes I like it when films do it, and sometimes I don't, depending on how they did it. And the first time around, I was like, no, that is not what I wanted. But then as I sat back and thought about it, I was like, well, who am I to say what you should do with the third act? You know, if Fede Alvarez wants to come in, put his own stamp on it, you know, expand on the lore like all the other directors have across his franchises, why shouldn't he? So I went back into it the second time with a complete open mind, and knowing it was going there. And when it got there on my second view, and it didn't bother me as much, and I actually sort of leaned into it a bit more, I was like, yeah, this is a bit more, this is quite gnarly, this is very sort of Fede Alvarez Evil Dead, this is science fiction horror, this is Dead Space, and you know all these other sci-fi horror movies sort of blended into one. And I dug it. I dug it a bit more the second time. I'm still a bit conflicted on it, just because it's just because it's new, and you know, I've been a fan of the Alien franchise for over 30 years. So to have something new this far into it, it does sort of throw you for a loop a bit, because I'm just so used to the same thing over and over again. And sort of like the lore of Alien, that when you put something new in so late in the game and late in the franchise, that it'll take me a couple of goes to really appreciate and get on board with what he did here. But second time around, it didn't bother me as much. It is a gnarly third act.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of great points there, Paul, obviously. But when I went into this, I did see online that someone went, oh, it's just Alien Resurrection all over again. And I thought, right, you've given me an idea what's going to happen, you know. And I'm definitely just logging off Twitter next time a new film comes out that I want to see, because people just can't hold their own piss. But I still didn't sort of see that coming. But okay. I loved it, man. I loved what happened the first time. I am one of them, like, when I watched the Halloween franchise, I kind of love Rob Zombie's Halloween too. I like Halloween Ends because they do something out of left field. They do something different. And I know Prometheus and Covenant have done that here. But when you look back at Alien and Aliens, this movie was very much sort of balancing it brilliantly. And then when they've done that in the third act, it puts its own stamp on it. And that's what I liked. I like it when we do something a little bit different, but I just loved the whole creature design of this thing. It looked like it was nightmare fuel, mate. It was pure horror. It was just a terrifying looking thing. And when that little mouth came out, I was like, holy shit, this is fucking brilliant. Loved the whole creativity of it. I thought it was actually going to breastfeed off her, you know. I thought it was going to do.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh, does it?
Does it? Does it?
Because he does die, doesn't he?
There's a part in the film, if you can remember back, they see like a load of artwork in it. There's a scene in it where they're looking at artwork, and one of the artworks is like, how do I explain it? It's like a mural of like loads of bodies on the floor and stuff, and they hone in on like a woman breastfeeding a baby in this art, this piece of art. Do you remember it? Yeah. And I didn't pick up on it first time around, and then obviously that's sort of like the payoff, because it's like the baby and that's the mum. It's sort of like the payoff of that. I presume that's where they were going with it, but I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah. Did she have like black goo?
Yeah, she like closed the goo. Yeah, so maybe that's what he's doing, but. Because I think she died after it, I thought, or maybe he hasn't breastfed, because I was meant to do that again. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, that's why I thought, oh, she hasn't breastfed, because you can't breastfeed again because she's dead. So that's where I got mixed up a little bit. But the second viewing, I noticed this a lot more because I knew it was coming. But I spoke to you off camera about it. When that score's hitting in and it's all leading up to her giving birth, and you know something horrifying's coming, and that score with the alarm going off in the background, I've got goosebumps talking about it now, man. That was my favourite part of the entire film. Just, I think Kaylee Spani's running towards her, and just the score is amazing. Just that dum, 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 dum. I'm just like, fuck. I just love all that shit, man. Yeah, this third act for me totally worked. I think it's on rewatch. It's the best part of the movie for me. It's my favorite part of the entire film. I just loved it. The creative design of it, the total pulling the rug from under your feet. Loved everything about it, man. And it was just a horrifying creature to look at. And I just love the fact that Fede Alvarez went pure horror with it.
I need to take a page out of your book. That is a great way of looking at things where, you know, we are like so long into like Halloween, like fucking 10 films, 9 films deep, that you shouldn't be doing the same thing over and over again. So I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to my thoughts on that third act, because I should be feeling that. I should be like, oh yeah, they're not just doing another Queen Alien, because I'll guarantee you if that was the way it went, another Queen Alien, taken out down an airlock, people would have gone, it's well, what's the point in the film? What was the, you literally just copied Aliens. So the fact that they do something new
and Aliens to an extent.
Yeah. So the fact that they did something new, very different, very left field, I should be commending that. And I will over time. I know I will. I've done this plenty of times in the past with other movies where I've walked out a bit conflicted, and then I've watched it a few times and then I just sort of accepted that is the direction they've gone. And then over time, I'll start liking it. I've done this so many times, and I know 100% I'll do it with this third act in Romulus.
Yeah, I don't think Fede Alvarez has done it to be a pretentious fella or anything. He's just
not at all. No.
Yeah, I think he's just. I think it would have felt flat if she just fought another big xenomorph. I do. I'm just so glad we went this way. Be cool little Neha figure that, by the way, if they ever bring one out. Yeah. So Paul, it is getting a bit late now, and I know you've been on other videos discussing this. We'll probably just wrap it up here and there. But very, very happy with Romulus, both of us, I think. Do you want to just give your we'll get into a couple of these comments real quick. We'll just answer them really quick before we go, because The Offspring is played by Robert. He's a Russian basketball player. He's tall. I didn't know that, mate, so thank you for that. Maybe he can play Freddy Krueger. Yes, this is very divided. Don't see where I has to be controversial to me. I love it. Alien franchise is more the xenomorphs, but it's about humans, androids, and other creations. And I think that's what the monster is. It's a mix of human, xenomorph, and maybe the engineers as well, I think. I wish we had gotten Prometheus 3 to get closure on that trilogy series. Well, here's what I want to ask you, Paul. Where do you want this franchise to go next?
I don't think we'll see the end, that third part of Ridley Scott. I don't think we'll ever see that. I think that's dead and buried. I think that's why they sort of tried to tie it into this film the best they could, to sort of give fans of their movies a little bit of closure. And fans who want that to be canon, it is. Them films are now canon, whether you like it or not. But I like the way they pulled the bits that sort of you needed from them to make this movie work. Where do I want the franchise to go next? I don't think I want to see another film set between Alien and Aliens, just for the fact that even though there's 57 years between now, it's a long period of time to tell so many stories. But the fact is, this won't be the same for you, George, and probably, a bunch of other people, but I've read loads of novels and comics as well that are set in that time period, and the more you keep sandwiching stories into that time period, you're sort of constricting yourself, and the more you start adding stories into there, the more I'll start the story of Aliens will sort of fall apart. Do you know what I mean? Because I won't be able to believe in my head that all this shit happened before Aliens. I think the Alien timeline's so big that you could go anywhere with this, man. You could set it after Alien 3. You could set it just before or after Resurrection. I mean, we've got the Alien Earth series coming out next year, which I think it's going. We will get it on Disney Plus. I think it's coming out in Hulu in the States. We'll get it on Disney Plus. that title alone scares me a bit because it just reminds me of. I think we might go down the Requiem route. I hope not.
Yeah.
I don't want to see aliens on Earth. That doesn't work for me. I know plenty of fans out there who can't wait to see that shit. That is what they want to see. They want to see them finally get on Earth. It doesn't work for me. It might not be that. It might be something different, but that title is scaring me a bit. But we'll see where that goes first. I think once this sort of movie's in the can and wrapped up and we're moving on to something else, I think that Alien Earth's going to be an indication of where we go next. I think Disney, obviously Disney now own this franchise. I think they're going to gear it up to do what they're doing with Star Wars, just giving us series and then more movies and a lot of alien stuff. I hope it doesn't go too over the board because I'm getting to a point now, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan, where I even am starting to sort of lose track of it. And I don't want that with the Alien franchise. But we'll see. We'll see where they go. I'm not too sure where I want a next movie to be. But I think just because I'm so happy with this one, I'm not really actually even thinking about where to go next. But we'll see what happens with this Alien Earth.
I personally do want that Ridley Scott third chapter. I do. But I don't think we're going to get it. I don't think Disney's going to throw the load of money at it because I don't know if a lot of people would go and see that, to be honest. I think they'd be more interested in what you've got. So I just don't think it's going to get back, personally. But they're saying that though, social media has given them two films a renaissance lately. And maybe Disney are just looking at seeing what the public discourse is. I don't know. But personally, that's where I would like that next, and then maybe if we do another one, hark back to something like Romulus in that sort of style. But I'd be very happy if Eddie Alvarez done another Alien movie. I'd be fine with that. But yeah, that Alien Earth does scare me.
We'll see. We haven't seen anything of that yet. I think there's a teaser trailer online. It hasn't been officially released, but you can see it sort of on YouTube, because I think it was shown somewhere in the States over the weekend and someone recorded it and put it up online. But it's literally like a 10-second teaser. It doesn't show you anything. So we haven't actually seen anything behind the scenes wise of that yet. But I'm intrigued. And I mean, an Alien TV series. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Do you think we will see? Do you think we will see an Alien versus Predator remake or reboot from Disney? Because we've had Prey, that did well. We've now had an Alien movie that did well. So then both franchises are back in their eyes.
I think it's got potential to be the next movie, to be honest.
No, not the next one.
I would like another couple of movies like Prey where they're set in different time periods, and another maybe Alien movie, but I would not be surprised if that's the next movie at all. Because Disney like to just go and jump on it, don't they?
Yeah.
Predator, let's do it now. So
yeah.
I can see that being a next film, to be honest. I hope not, because I wasn't really a big fan of them first two, to be honest. I think with the right directors, Dan Tatzenberg and Fede Alvarez, they could make it work. But,
yeah.
We'll see, mate. 4 and 5 was up for discussion, but obviously that prequel series was cancelled. Maybe Alvarez needs to pick it up. I don't know.
5 is up for discussions. Obviously the prequel series was cancelled. Maybe. Oh, as in like 4 and 5 of the Ridley Scott movies? Well, we're going to go with 5 of them? Jesus Christ. I'm doing 5 of them, man.
I know. Alvarez, man, needs a nominee or a medal or something. He's done great at this. He's actually borrowed elements from all Alien films and the video games. Yeah.
Tell he's a fan, man. You can tell it's all there. Yeah. It's all there in that film, man. He's a huge fan of this franchise.
And he's got us fans at heart as well, I think. Yeah. Fits well into the universe timeline. I agree. Which I didn't think it would, like I said before, but it does. Comes third in my alone ranking. Yeah. Do you want to do your ranking now then, Paul?
Yeah, so I've got Prometheus last, then Covenant, then Alien 3, then Alien Resurrection, Romulus, Alien, and Aliens. So Romulus is my third favourite. and I was struggling. You know what? No, I wasn't. As soon as I walked out that film, I was like, "That's my third favorite Alien film." I wasn't even really debating on it at all.
Yeah. Okay. Mine is Covenant last, even though I do like it. Resurrection, Alien 3. They could swap though in future, I imagine. Prometheus, Romulus third, Alien, and Aliens. There's an age-old debate, isn't it? Is it Alien or Aliens? But we both agree it's Aliens.
Yeah, I really do.
Both amazing movies though for
Mm-hmm.
what they bring. That goo either destroys or creates life. I really do love Prometheus and Covenant side of things in the whole Alien universe. It gives more substance and lore. It does. So fair enough, Mahaju, if that's your thing. It does give a lot of lore. I love the Neomorph 2 in Covenant. Yeah, spoke about that before. Even the giant squid facehugger, every creation is a result of the Prometheus goo. Yeah, that was a strange creature in Prometheus, wasn't it? That you had inside. I was like sort of feeling her pain, even though I'm not a woman. I felt like my stomach was hurting watching her going, oh. You did a great job, Naomi Rapace, in that film.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember when the scientist Rook came on screen and was explaining the Prometheus situation? The iconic Prometheus theme come on in the background, very subtly. A call back to Shaw from Prometheus. I didn't notice that.
No, I didn't catch that at all. I don't know what the Prometheus theme is.
Me neither, to be honest. I can't remember it, to be honest. But
like you say to me, what's the alien? You said to me, what if you say to me what is the theme of Aliens and Alien? Yeah. I can sort of hum it. I couldn't tell you what Prometheus is.
He's done well to spot that, though.
Yeah, that's a good little one.
I love the chemistry between Tyler, Andy, and Rain. Yeah, that's the guy.
If Tyler's the older brother, the sort of alpha male in it, the alpha male of the group, yeah. I didn't really catch on to a lot of what I liked about him the first round. The second time round, that scene when his sister's locked in the room, and Andy won't open the door, and he's begging Andy to open the door, and he's like, "Fuck her!" Like I thought the acting on him in that scene was awesome. On the second time round, I watched it.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard people say they did not like the characters at all in this, but I liked them. He was fine.
I do. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, you know that guy, the arsehole, I forgot his name. He's got Vasquez's bandana on, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. I think his name's Bjorn in the film.
Yeah.
BJORN. Bjorn.
Did you see something Fede Alvarez said today in a Reddit post?
No, I read an article he did in Hollywood Reporter today, but not on Reddit.
No, apparently he's come on this Reddit post and said someone that said, was she giving birth? Was her baby his, even though it's her own cousin? And he went, yeah, well spotted. But I thought that the first time.
I thought that the first time.
Yeah. But
I thought it's weird because the film never tells you, but I assumed it straight away when she goes, "Oh, it's just some asshole," and then I'm like, "Well, obviously that." I was like, "It was obviously that asshole." Are they cousins? Yeah, they are cousins in it. Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't want Tyler to die. I felt so sad. Yeah, I did feel a bit bad when he died, but it was always going to happen, wasn't it?
How does he die?
I think doesn't it the big fucking thing come and just take him and pick him up and then the xenomorph?
That's it. Yeah,
the xenomorph does he like put the mouth and skull crush him or something?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Just talking about Alien 4 before when I said it was Jurassic Park. It seemed perverted, those scenes. I think that's the one what you said was a bit perverted.
Yeah.
Yeah, the xenomorph are dubbed as the perfect organisms. Yeah, they really are, because that fucking xenomorph from the first movie has survived in space with no oxygen and no food. And he even says, doesn't he, that? And he goes, the perfect organism. I really like Alien Covenant as well. What's your thoughts on it? I think I did see that before we talked about Covenant. Walter said he was going to Oregon 9 with the colonists. Is that where Rain and Andy are going? That was my little theory before.
No, I think the planet they're going to is it called like Argyle 3 or something like that, or Varga 3 or something.
Fair enough. Right. Mahaju, I might have to leave it here, mate, because there's like another 20 comments. So I think me and Paula, we should call it a day there, mate, do you think?
Yeah, man. If
Sorry,
you want to go,
if
you may want to go through his comments and like answer them in the comment section, maybe. If he wants to ask some questions in the comment section, we can answer them after the fact.
There's about 8 comments. Shall I just read them dead quick? Should we just do them dead quick?
Blast through them, man. Let's go.
Want to know what happened with David and Walter, like they did survive or what, and what was Walter getting up to before Romulus, given that cliffhanger? And we need a third part of some explanation. Yeah, I do want a third part, but I just don't think it's going to happen, Mahaju. Do you think Romulus would have benefited with more kills? In other words, adding more characters? No, I'm fine with the kills. I'm fine with the characters.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah. Like I don't think it needed any more, any less. I think it was what it needed to be.
Do you think if they continue with the Romulus story with Rain and Andy, they will meet up with Walter in Romulus sequel? I think that's a potential. It could happen. Well, not Walter. I was thinking David maybe with that planet he's gone to. Potentially, I don't know. There's potential there for that to happen, I think. The most terrifying scene for me was when Andy looks behind Kay and it just goes silent, and then all of a sudden he is looking at the offspring. It's just the way it's executed.
Yeah, it's like in the corridor, isn't it? It's like just you see. So they wake up and she looks at Kay, and then literally behind her, it's just in the corridor like this, it's like looking at them.
Oh,
yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
Oh, is that when he won't open the door?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's waiting for them to open the door. Yeah, good just moment that. You just see the alien that looks lanky with its big eyes and then walks towards them. It's so frightening.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Alien Earth. We've spoke about that. I'm on the fence.
Intrigued by it, but just the title. I don't know where they're going with that.
And the fact that it all takes place before
Prometheus. Yeah.
It's only taking place like 50 years from now, isn't it, or something?
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. A teaser is leaked. I'm going to have to go and check that out, to be honest.
Yeah.
But they will co-direct the Prey director to make Alien vs. Predator, but the plans are to get another Alien and Prey 2 out before the AVP reboot. Oh, fair enough. They might get one more movie of each and then do it.
He has come out and said, Fede's come out and said he's up for doing it with Trachtenberg because they're mates as well. Apparently they're good friends. So he's teasing it already. I think we'll get him. I think we'll see an AVP in the next 5 years.
Two great directors as well. That 13 Cloverfield Lane, I think, is a great film. That Trachtenberg.
Alien vs. Predator though is rich with. If you've ever read the original Dark Horse comic, that is nothing like what the movie we got. It's actually it feels like Alien and Predator. Whether that movie feels like quite a bit more of like a popcorny sort of. That one's like a proper like sci-fi story. But obviously they didn't have the budget to do that back then. It would have been massive budget. But there's more. You can do something really good with Alien vs. Predator if you've got the right people involved. And Fede Alvarez and Dan Trachtenberg, put them two together, put them in a room. See some good shit there, man. Yeah,
they've already got experience in the franchise as well, haven't they? So it seems perfect if they want to do one of them films, to be honest. That first one just feels like a Paul W.S. Anderson film. Oh, it is.
It feels such an early thousands movie, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean when you watch it?
I just couldn't get over that Predator teaming up with the woman and they were jumping over that pit. I was like, oh my God. Ridiculous.
Yeah, what is this? Why is he not killing her? I get why he's not killing her, but it's just
at least in Romulus. I mean, at least in Requiem, he kills a few people while he's on Earth. He doesn't just leave all the humans alone. Also, there's a spin-off to Prey coming out called Badlands at some point. Yeah, I have heard of that one. Where does that take place for, the Badlands one? Like,
they haven't said. It's just Trachtenberg coming back again. But there's another film coming out as well. There's a Badlands and there's another Predator movie in the works as well, which is set in the future, in like sort of a Blade Runner time period sort of thing, like a cyberpunky sort of world.
Yeah, that'd be cool, that, man. And we'd probably see the advanced Predator because they're like in Prey. It wasn't as advanced as it was in the other Predator movies because it's years ago, isn't it? Yeah. So imagine how advanced it would be in the future. I don't know if you guys are aware, I've been sub to you for a long time, about 4 years now. Well, thank you very much, mate. I always do notice here on the live streams, mate. I would really appreciate that. Yeah, that's why I love Tyler. That scene, his acting in that scene was very emotional for me. It gave more depth to his character. The weight was there. Fair enough, yeah. Yeah, did Kay get pregnant by her cousin? Yeah, we think so. We've got Ellis here from Total Movie Recall. All right, mate. Thanks so much for coming along. Caught the last hour of this, boy. It's been a great discussion. Them being cousins, didn't catch that. Yeah, they certainly are. Looks they have been between each other in that one scene before he electrocutes the cousins, Xenomorph. Yeah. Do you think there was an odd little look between them that maybe implied that they were a bit sort of going together?
I didn't catch anything. Between them. Like when she said, "Oh, just some asshole," my brain straight away went, "Oh, it's obviously going to be fine. We'll find out in the film it's him," but we don't. It doesn't tell us.
They were giving funny looks at each other and thought, "Not odd." Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll leave it there, Paul. It's 5 to 11, man. I'm really sorry that we were just going to go till 10 there, but it's been 2 hours and a half. We've been on it, and my eyes are killing with the light. So, thank you so much for coming on, mate. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no worries, man. Like, I don't think I'll be talking Alien again for the next few weeks because we've even you and me, we've been talking about this franchise for weeks now, doing our own videos on it and stuff. And I like that it's leading up to this, where we've got to sit down and talk about the movie because we've sort of been back and forth in Instagram and that, just talking about the film. So it's been nice to sit down and just talk about the whole franchise with you. I've enjoyed it, man.
Thanks, mate. I've been listening to bloody rankings and reviews on all the movies as well. I've just been in this alien world for the last 3 weeks. So thanks so much, everyone, for coming along and getting your comments in, especially you, Mihaju. Appreciate that, mate. Don't forget to go and check out Paul's channel if you're watching this on the replay or if you are watching now. His link is down below. Go and show him some support. Great channel. I've watched all your videos, mate. Apart from the Beetlejuice one, I haven't watched that yet. That's the only one I haven't watched. But
don't worry, no one else has either.
I was going to do my own little review on it, and then I'll probably check you out because I always watch the reviews when I've done mine. Thanks so much, mate. We'll just leave it there. So take it all easy, everyone. See you later. Thanks. Bye.
Well, man.